The Judicial Service Commission has resolved to recommend Gauteng Acting Judge President Ledwaba to head up that division. Ledwaba is the only candidate who was interviewed for that top job today. He has been acting in the position since the former head Justice Dunstan Mlambo was appointed to the Deputy Chief Justice position. Khomozo Modise reports.
Your candidature, I think this is the elephant in the room. Your candidature is shrouded in this dark cloud, which you don't deserve.
Acting Gauteng Judge President Ledwaba spent more than 2 hours in an interview that was initially scheduled for just 40 minutes, fielding tough questions on his appointment, the bulk of which were around the corruption allegations against him at the Madlanga Commission. Just before going into what promised to be intense deliberations, Chief Justice Mandisa Maya asked Ledwaba why the JSC should not wait until he's been cleared by the Madlanga Commission.
There has been other clouds, as I've mentioned, that were made. And to say that all these allegations need to be cleared first, I don't think that is in the interest of justice.
Ledwaba, who's a step closer to heading up the country's busiest division, has denied that the allegations are serious, dismissing them as hearsay. The JSC will recommend his appointment to head up the Gauteng division of the courts permanently to President Cyril Ramaphosa. Khomozo Modise, Eyewitness News.
The Special Investigating Unit has secured preservation orders to try and claw back millions paid to a company fraudulently during the COVID-19 pandemic. It follows a probe into claims of more than 19 million rand made to the Unemployment Insurance Fund. The investigation found that Nakomang Trading Enterprise improperly received funds under the COVID-19 Temporary Employer-Employee Relief Scheme. The SIU says the company submitted fraudulent applications between 2020 and 2023, misrepresenting employment relationships. The funds were diverted into the personal accounts of directors as well as associates. SIU spokesperson Salbi Mahoto.
The SIU's investigation revealed that one of the directors of Nakomang, Mr. Nicholas Manuel, purchased vehicles in cash immediately after the UIF disbursements and retained portions of the funds as commission. Downstream beneficiaries included Ms. Kanye Angel Nokukanya, who received an amount of 569,920 rands and 21 cents from Nakomang's UIF proceeds, later applied towards property acquisitions.
The defense in the case against soccer boss Danny Jordan and his co-accused is set to bring a second application to have the matter struck off the roll. The application is used in instances where cases have been unreasonably delayed. Jordan, along with SAFA executives and a public relations company, face charges of fraud and conspiracy to commit fraud involving 1.3 million rand. It is alleged that Jordan used SAFA funds for personal security and to hire Grit Communications to manage his public image following rape allegations in 2017. The accused were charged in 2024, but have not yet pleaded, with the case repeatedly delayed after the defense brought review applications to the High Court. Jordan's new lawyer, Advocate Rian Gissing, says a lot more has happened since the first application was dismissed.
Your Worship, we have in our possession the original application, and I would respectfully seek guidance from this Honourable Court whether at this stage already I can hand Your Worship the original application for the convenience and for the sake of progress perhaps on the next occasion, if it pleases Your Worship.
And nearly 700 civilians have reportedly been killed in ongoing violence in Sudan since January. According to the United Nations, the 3 years of civil war have created the world's largest humanitarian crisis. The war between Sudan's army and the paramilitary rapid support forces has killed tens of thousands of people and displaced more than 11 million others. The UN says its appeal to raise 2.9 billion rand for Sudan this year has only 60% covered as international aid contributions from member countries decline. Donors are expected to gather in Berlin tomorrow for a conference on the conflict aimed at reviving peace talks and mobilizing aid. Gold is trading at $4,784.51 an ounce. The rand is at 16.36 to the dollar, 22.17 to the pound, 19.29 to the euro, and Brent crude oil is at $98.53 a barrel.
In the traffic, as you approach the Gelden Hayes interchange, traffic is sluggish there due to roadworks. And in Edenvale, also look out for roadworks on the R24 from Edenvale Road as you approach the Galulis interchange.
In your sport, the latest from the friendly between Banyana and Algeria. Michael Carrick not panicking after Manchester United suffer surprise Premier League defeat to Leeds. And Perez Chepchicha withdraws from the London Marathon.
It's a partly cloudy afternoon in Gauteng with scattered showers and thundershowers expected. Temperatures have peaked at highs of between 20 and 23 degrees. The top story in EWN this hour, the Madlanga Commission says controversial Northwest businessman Suleiman Karim will no longer be testifying on Thursday following health complications.
EWN, in touch, in tune, and independent. For the latest, visit ewn.co.za or download the EWN app.
From the townships to the suburbs and everywhere in between, it's the 702 MTN Small Business Awards. Enter now on Prime Media Plus. Let's talk shop.
You're with John Perlman on 702.
Streaming on the Prime Media Plus app, DSTV channel 856,
92.7
and 106 FM.
Very good afternoon, everyone. It's 8 minutes past 3 on Tuesday, the 14th of April. This is 702 Drive with me, John Perlman. Wherever you're listening to us in 702 land, welcome to the show. What are the real issues behind the public row between the White House and the Vatican as Pope Leo XIV begins his 11-day visit to 3 African countries? We'll get the thoughts of Father Russell Pollitt, head of the Jesuit Institute. He's my guest at 10 to 4. In other stories, the Border Management Authority has intercepted 1 million rand worth of illegal explosives at the border with Zimbabwe. Where was the material headed? What kind of explosives were these? Some clarity, we hope, after 5. Another cabinet minister stands accused of accepting luxury vehicles from the Chinese government, ostensibly on behalf of the ANC Women's League, but for the second time, it seems these SUVs have been given to members of their family. Daily Maverick's Rebecca Davis has been doing the digging on this story. She joins us after 4. And we'll meet another one of the finalists in the 702 MTN Small Business Awards. Could we teach maths and science in a different and more interesting way and get more young people actually hooked into these subjects? Make sure you're listening at 10 to 5. On the markets, the JSC is having a better day today with the all-share up by 650 points. That's around 0.5%. Resources leading the way with that index up by 1%. Some of the top performers include Alphaman up by 4.3%, Implats, which is up by 3.4%, and Bytes, which is better by 3.6%. Karoo is one of the losers, weaker by 4.7%. British American Tobacco down by 4%, and Tungela has lost nearly 3%, moving as it has so often in step with the oil price. Speaking of which, a small shift upwards, but nothing major. Brent crude more expensive by 34 cents, currently trading at $98.15 a barrel. The rand is trading at 16 rand 34 against the dollar. That's 6 cents better than it was this time yesterday. A euro will cost you 19 rand 29, a little bit more than yesterday, and 22 rand 21 will get you a pound. The rand over the last 24 hours has weakened against sterling by 15 cents. Moteo Juaripe joins us with all the market news at 25 past 4. We'll have sport with Tolakele Mganga. Mbali Dlamini has the latest news headlines, and Khomotso Munyai keeping an eye on the roads. This is 702 Drive. We're live in the place where you live. If it's happening in 702 land, we'll bring it to you just as soon as we're certain we know exactly what's happening. If you've got a better idea than we do or know about a story that perhaps we haven't heard about, please do get in touch. 072 702 1702 or give us a ring on 011 883 0702 702 Drive. It's 11 minutes past 3.
702.
Let's walk the talk.
So we've got lots to talk about, lots of questions to ask, lots to think about. If you are yourself a member of the Catholic Church or follow that church with interest, maybe you've already formed some views on the spat going on between Pope Leo XIV on the one hand and the US President Donald Trump on the other. If you want to get in ahead of our conversation with Father Russell Pollard, give us a call on that same number, 072 702 1702 or 011 883 0702. Completely different topic, though, was something we were kind of bouncing around as a team just as we were getting ready for the show. And the issue that came up was simply this. Are there occupations, services that you get provided with where you would actually prefer the service provider? It might be a lawyer, it might be a doctor, who knows? It could be anything at all, where you would prefer them to be of one particular gender, i.e., I'd prefer that to be provided to me by a man, or I would prefer that service to be provided to me by a woman. I must say I can't think of any. I, for many years, had female bosses and really, really enjoyed that. I have male bosses at the moment, and that's going really well, and I like them very much as well. But there was a time when I must admit I was a strong sort of supporter of having a female boss, and I can go into the reasons for that a little bit later if there's time or if it's relevant. But yeah, can't really think of an occupation where I think, I think I'd prefer. A friend of mine insisted that he always preferred female dentists because they had smaller hands and they could get in and around the sensitive areas of his mouth a lot more easily. But yeah, my dentist is a man and he does a terrific job. So I'm happy with what I have. Rifue Letsua, good afternoon, producing today with Kabazela as always. Preferences for men or women in particular service industries or areas, or indeed as bosses?
Good afternoon, John, and to the rest of the 702 family. So I have a preference for, if you're going to be a breeder, a dog breeder, I'm going to go for male, because we got our Rottweilers from a male breeder.
Yes.
Those dogs are real dogs. I'm not saying other dogs aren't. I'm just saying he took care in it. He's got a lot of experience. We've never actually had a female breeder, but we've always had our dogs from male breeders, and it's been really good. And also the vet, my vet is, well, their vet, their vet is also male. And then the person that does my feet, my pedicure, I don't know whether it's the roughness that he has in his hand or the passion, but when I'm done with my feet, John, it's like I'm walking on clouds. So I don't know whether it's like the rough passion of getting all the calluses out and making sure everything is smoothed out. But John, I'm telling you, clouds. It's like I'm walking on clouds. I should actually recommend him to you if you want, just for experience.
You've never seen me with my shoes off, but yes, thank you.
I'm just saying.
I just say, no, my feet could use some work, to be honest. I'll check that out. Thank you. I'll get that number from you. Khumotso Munyai doing the traffic for us, as I mentioned earlier. Does gender come into it when you're looking for services of any kind or interactions?
Good afternoon, John. So not really, but until recently. So I went to the police station for an AR, and when I got there, I received the most dramatic experience of my life, and it was a woman.
Right.
And you know, I've been to the police station before to do a couple of things, and most of the time I've been served by men. And I think men are the most simplest people in life. They'll make things for you really easy. You know what it's like as well is when you're on the road and you have a traffic officer stop you. I promise you, when it's men, oh, it's so smooth. Be stopped by a woman, they will mother you. They will ask you 100 questions. Oh, sweet Jesus. They will ask you why you didn't wash your car. Why do you have that? Is that what you have for lunch? Oh,
yes.
No. But it sounds like it comes from a good place.
No, I'm
sure.
sure.
Like, why didn't you wash your car?
But sometimes I don't want to be mothered, you know? Sometimes I'm just trying to get to work. Do I have my license? Let me show you and leave.
Yes.
But I, for that particular purpose, males. Other than that, no, I'm not fussy.
Okay, so men needed better
Police
if
service?
it's a traffic cop.
Yes, and traffic
Okay.
cops.
Okay, there we go. So we've already got some strong preferences. Give us a call on 011 8830 702. Lerato says, good afternoon, and Tati John. I'm a guy and I prefer male barbers. I once gave a female barber a chance, safe to say never and never again. My wife cuts my hair, so there's that. But when she's away, I went to a female barber and she was excellent, actually.
I've never had a female barber.
Yeah, very, very good. She was good. She
Oh.
was the business. So, yeah, haven't had males cut my hair for ages, but before my wife cut it, 2 male barbers, and they were good too. Okay, give us your thoughts on that, please. 011 8830 702. Nalini is already helping to build up the order book of the male pedicure guy. Please give us the name of your pedicure guy. Rifue, get Nalini in the line. It sounds like the line's going to be a long one. 17 minutes past 3. Let's get the very latest news from out in the traffic then. Khumotso, what are you seeing?
Thank you, John. So we'll start in Edenvale. Those roadworks on the R24 continue to cause some slow-moving traffic from Edenvale Road to Harper Road. As you approach the Gelden Hayes interchange, traffic is also sluggish, and it is due to roadworks as well. In Roodepoort, traffic is a little sluggish on Hendrik Potgieter. This is between Christian de Wet and Johan Street. I suspect it is due to faulty traffic lights, so if you're heading in that direction, just please be aware of that. And speaking of faulty traffic lights, you can look out for them in Rand Park Ridge at the N1 South and Beyers Nodia, in North Riding at the N1, this is both South and North, and Malibongwe. Likewise, if you come across any other traffic, please do send us a tweet on X at EWN Traffic.
Clement Maniatella.
Weekday mornings,
9 to 12.
9 to 12.
Having observed and dealt with a number of public health institutions, what do you think of the quality of health delivery in our hospitals? Do you find that it's deteriorating? Do you find that it's getting better?
It's certainly not getting better. It is deteriorating. But I must say, overall, the healthcare system in the country is still good enough for people to rely on it. However, there are some systemic problems that have been going on for a number of years, primary of which is the infrastructure has been neglected, and secondly, the equipment has been neglected.
The Health Ombudsman, Emeritus Professor Taule Mokoena.
Clements Maniatella.
9 to 12 on 702.
Corporates That Care promotes and encourages corporate leaders and all citizens to walk the talk for a better South Africa. Catch Corporates That Care this Wednesday at 10 to 9, featuring ABSA. Their Group Chief Marketing and Corporate Affairs Officer, Sydney Mbele, will be in conversation with Bongani Bingwa. And join us every Wednesday as we highlight the efforts of companies and brands dedicated to building our country. Corporates That Care is a Prime Media Cares initiative with 702 and Prime Media Outdoor. 702, let's walk the talk and make a difference together.
Attention all shoppers.
Our supermarket shelves are full of unhealthy food. It's often hard for me to know which foods are good for my family. The information on packaged food is complicated and hard to understand. I wish we had easy-to-understand warning labels on foods high in salt, sugar, and saturated fat. We have the right to know what's in our food. Support front-of-package warning labels on unhealthy packaged foods. Sign the petition on healer.org. That's HEALA.org.
Let's hear from Dr. Armand, owner of Monument Dental, why it pays to switch to Outsurance Business Insurance.
It was one call and I was covered immediately. We are very happy with the premium we're paying. I wish I did it sooner.
For dentistries, general medical practices, and all other businesses, get a quote today and see why it pays to switch to Outsurance Business Insurance. Visit outsurance.co.za or call 08600 60,000 today. Licensed insurer and FSP. TCs and information online.
When it comes to resilience, focus and strength, few South Africans embody it like Gerda Steyn, the Comrades Marathon champion and one of our toughest endurance athletes, sits down with Dr. Michael Mole for a powerful conversation you won't want to miss. It's part of Sipla's Health and Mind Matters, a trusted hub bringing you expert-led health conversations that you can trust. Together, they unpack mindset, pressure, physical health and what it really takes to stay strong mentally and physically. Watch the full video now on the Prime Media Plus app or primemediaplus.com. Scroll to Prime Media Highlights and click on Health Matters.
You're with John Perlman on 702.
Let's walk the talk.
Well, you may recall last week we focused on 2 new judges being appointed to serve on the Constitutional Court. More developments in regard to the judiciary. The Judicial Service Commission was today reviewing the possibility, the candidature, I think is the right way to put it, for the position of Gauteng Judge President. And there was only one candidate for that position. He has been acting in that role after Justice Dunstan Mlambo was appointed Deputy Chief Justice. I'm referring to the current acting Judge President, now recommended to be the President of the division, and we're referring here to Judge Audrey Ledwaba. Some tricky moments, as I understand it, in his hearing, but Khomotso Modise was there to take a close look and listen in. Khomotso, very good afternoon to you. Some questions, as I understand it, about him granting bail to a man who now stands accused of murder. What was the issue and how did Justice Aubrey Ledwaba deal with that?
Well, John, the Justice has really faced a number of questions around the decisions that he's made as a judge, particularly in the Gauteng division. And he stood by a lot of the decisions that he's made as a judge, basically saying that he had acted according to the law, that he'd applied himself. And this is a reason that he also gave when he was questioned about his decision to allocate a case to a judge now, John, that is facing corruption charges. This is Judge Pahlani, who is facing corruption charges linked to the IPHC church matter. Again, the acting judge president speaking about how there was nothing untoward in the decision-making process, and really explaining himself, saying that he had applied himself in the steps that he'd taken, both in his role as a judge or a deputy judge president when he was allocating cases, but also in his role as a judge as he was adjudicating over cases and presiding over matters. And so the questions that were posed to him, particularly around the decisions that he made as a judge, he handled quite well, John, really backing them up and standing by those decisions.
In terms of the judge president, I don't know if this is just kind of judiciary 101, but why is the position so important? And if it is important, as I assume it must be, given the hearing and given the nature of the title, because it refers to an entire provincial division, what did Justice Ledwaba have to say about his intentions and how he would set about doing the work?
Well, the position of Judge President is an important one, John, because it provides leadership for the division, and really it dictates in which way the division would go in issues like, getting people to be appointed to come and act in the division as acting judges, as well as the representation issues. We know that in the judiciary, representation is rather important and has been highlighted quite a bit, particularly now, even under the leadership of Chief Justice Mandi Samaya. So the decision really the decisions that come before the judge president are really about strategy, and it came through when he was asked about decisions around or instances where we see Stalingrad tactics in matters, where we see counsel really delaying matters. That was one of the questions that really showed and really were probing whether he understood the role of a judge president and the leadership that you should be providing as a judge president. And he handled those questions, John, really answering about what he's already been doing in the position as acting judge president. We know that he's been acting since the appointment of Dunstan Mlambo to the Constitutional Court, and he says he's ready and eager to continue providing that leadership. I think it was really interesting to see how he was commended, John, for his leadership in the division. We heard from Chief Justice Mandi Samaya saying she watched him lead that division, and really, his leadership has been, nothing short of impeccable. remarkable, really providing a lot of stability in a division that is the busiest division in the country. So there wasn't anything that the panel could fault him on when it comes to the leadership. The only thing that remained a cloud in his interview were the allegations against him in the Madlanga Commission.
Thank you so much. That update there from Khumotso Modise, our EWN colleague, 26 minutes past 3.
John is on X.
At John Perlman.
Well, let's stay with the justice system and focus our attention now on something that is happening happened out in Soweto today, where a prominent Soweto community leader has been accused of raping a 12-year-old girl. Let's get the very latest on that particular matter. And welcome to 702 Drive, EWN reporter Jabulile Mbata. Very good afternoon to you. I mean, this is a really troubling and horrible matter appearing before the court. What do we know about it? What details emerged in court today, Jabulile? Good afternoon.
Good afternoon, John. So we were, as the media and many other people, were not allowed actually to go into court because it was quite full, and police had to take control of the situation. There were hundreds of people. But just, speaking to the people on the ground, especially community members, they've said, as you said, this is a prominent community member. This is someone who has a high role in the church. He's known to have a membership with the ANC, and he's a 58-year-old man. So the suspect, the victim, is someone who was a neighbor, actually, not a relative. I think there's been some confusion about that, but she's actually a neighbor.
Right.
So, they trusted this man and they always would go to his house. But unfortunately, during the Easter holiday, this is something that is alleged to have happened. And there is video footage, placing the two of them in one room. And in that very graphic video, the 12-year-old is naked. You see some blood in the video, and there's really no concern from the suspect. Instead, he's more worried about getting his phone. As again, that's what we see from the video. So that's as far as we know. The bail application did not take place. It has been postponed to the 22nd of April. So we don't know more about this man, just outside of what we were told by community members and the ANC, which was present.
So if he's been charged, what explains the delay? I mean, he's appeared in open court. Why are the details as sketchy as they are?
So what we understand is that there's still some outstanding information that would be required for the bail application process to take place. And without that, it can't proceed. But today, again, was very, very brief. He made an appearance and the court said it just has to be postponed. And one of the things that we saw from standing outside court is that, residents and community members didn't even want to see the police vehicle leave with him. Everyone just, wanted to come for him. So the community is quite outraged. So police were trying to get control of the situation and remove people. But eventually, as the day went by, there were less and less people in that vicinity.
Thanks very much. 29 minutes past 3. This is 702 Drive. Still to come on the show, we're going to be taking a closer look at a row that has been taking place between the Vatican on the one hand and the White House on the other. Father Russell Pollard will be joining us a little bit later on 702 Drive. It's coming up now for 3:30. Let's get the very latest eyewitness news. Bali Dlamini standing by with an update. Very good afternoon to you.
Thanks, John. Good afternoon. The Gauteng High Court has ordered controversial entertainment blogger Musa Kaula to apologize to EFF leader Julius Malema for making false and defamatory comments about him. In February, Kaula falsely claimed on a post on X that Malema's wife Mandwa had filed for divorce. In a judgment handed down today, Khawula's comments have been declared unlawful and defamatory. Thabiso Koba reports.
EFF leader Julius Malema joins a long list of high-profile figures who have successfully sued entertainment blogger Musa Khawula for defamatory comments. This list includes ANC Secretary General Phil Mbalula, businessman Zane Nxumalo, and his wife, former Miss South Africa Tamarin Green. Today's judgment shows Khawula's false claims about Malema's marriage were picked up and reshared by at least 18 different media publications or blogs. Khawula has been ordered to remove the comments from his X account and issue an apology within 24 hours of the judgment. In a separate matter, Khawula currently has an arrest warrant out for him after he failed to appear in court for his 2022 murder case, where he stands accused of killing his former boyfriend, Wandile Kambule. Thabiso Koba, Eyewitness News.
Thousands of unemployed young people have taken to the streets today, moving from factory to factory in Midrand and Tembisa in a desperate search for work. The group, led by the Labour and Civic Organisation, has been going door to door with CVs in hand, appealing directly to businesses for employment. South Africa's unemployment rate remains above 30%, with young people the most affected. Mongezi Gogo reports.
Thousands of young people have been walking between warehouses and industrial sites since this morning, some in overalls, others in casual clothing, hoping to be given a chance to earn a living. While the demonstration has remained peaceful, many factories have kept their gates shut, citing safety concerns for staff and stock. But there have been small wins, with at least 15 people being offered work at one site. Nhlanhla Zimu speaks for the Labour and Civic Organisation.
We have 15 people that are going to be employed here. We are still going to the other companies and we are hoping 200 plus people will be employed today.
For many here, this is about survival, with young people saying they're not giving up despite the uncertainty over how many will walk away with jobs. Mongi Ziko, Eyewitness News, Tembisa.
And the DA in Gauteng has welcomed the announcement by the National Prosecuting Authority that those implicated in the Life Esidimeni tragedy will be charged. The party says everyone identified by the Life Esidimeni inquest must face prosecution on charges including culpable homicide. At least 141 patients died following transfers from NGOs where they were cared for in 2015 and 2016, while the NPA has not yet named those to be charged. DA Shadow MEC for Health, Jack Bloom, says former Gauteng Health MEC, Qetani Mahlangu, should be among them.
It's essential that their consequences, this should include the former health MEC, Qetani Mahlangu, who I think was very implicated in this, and politicians should not be let off. Everyone should be prosecuted who was involved in the full range of possible charges.
And in Spain, government is expected to approve a decree to regularize around 500,000 undocumented migrants. Prime Minister Pedro Sanchez made the announcement in a letter posted on social media. Sanchez has long argued that Spain needs migration to fill workforce gaps and counteract an aging population. The measure will affect people living in Spain for at least 5 months and who applied for international protection before December 2025. Around 840,000 undocumented migrants are said to be living in Spain at the beginning of 2025, most of them Latin American. It's a partly cloudy afternoon in Gauteng with scattered showers and thunder showers. Temperatures have peaked at highs of between 20 and 23 degrees.
In the traffic, look out for faulty traffic lights in Randburg at Malibongwe and President Fouché, in Kyalami at Main and R55.
The top story in EWN, the Gauteng High Court has ordered controversial entertainment blogger Musa Khawula to apologize to EFF leader Julius Malema for making false and defamatory comments about him.
Africa Milani.
Weekday mornings,
4 to 6.
We're just talking about driving behavior in South Africa. Vuyo, you've called in from Boksburg. You've got some thoughts on this.
You know, when you were saying Cape Town has the worst drivers, I was just a bit shocked because my sister recently relocated to Durban. Wow. Durban drivers, guys, no. Like total disregard for the law. They don't stop on traffic cycles.
And there's a new pandemic, man, Uncle Africa. Our e-hailing drivers, they're taking a cab nowadays. They are driving like taxi drivers. They are always in the rush. I don't know what are they rushing for.
Africa Milani.
4 to 6 on 702.
Joburg, get ready for the hottest music festival of the year. Scatterlings Music Festival featuring Sjava, Zakes Bantwini, Sun El Musician, Jay Something, Msaki, JSC Clegg, Simi, Trezor, Spinofu, and more, all on one stage. Scatterlings Music Festival, Huddle Park, Johannesburg, 1 August. One day, back-to-back hits. This is not just a lineup, it's a moment. Scatterlings Music Festival on sale at webtickets.co.za. Brought to you by 702.
The Audi Open House Sales event is here and you're invited. Come test drive a wide range of Audi models, take advantage of exclusive offers, and stand a chance to win an all-expenses-paid trip to Formula One, courtesy of Audi. The Audi Open House Sales event is now on until 30th of April at Audi dealerships nationwide. Book your test drive today at audi.co.za. Terms and conditions apply.
That's Amanda, before she got naked. When the power tripped, Amanda felt more helpless than when her mom-in-law called her lasagna different. So Amanda got naked. She got car and home insurance at a lower premium and can now call an electrician anytime via the Naked app. There we go. Cover your car and home now at naked.insure and see how easy insurance can be when you get naked. Naked Financial Technology is an authorized FSP. Get naked.
Gauteng is currently experiencing high water consumption. To avoid water interruptions, residents are urged to use water sparingly to allow equitable supply. Act now. Save water. Every drop counts. This message is brought to you by the Department of Water and Sanitation, Rand Water, Gauteng Provincial Government, City of Johannesburg, City of Tshwane, and City of Ekurhuleni.
We said, let's talk shop. And small business owners answered, from the townships to the suburbs and everywhere in between. Now, 702 and MTN Business want to share their stories with you. The 702 MTN Small Business Awards. Listen to 702 Breakfast with Bongani Bingwa and the Afternoon Drive with John Perlman all week to meet the businesses doing big things. Hear what it really takes to build something from the ground up. And if you're listening thinking, that sounds like my business, go to primemediaplus.com now to enter or nominate a small business you know, because the next business we talk about could be yours. The 702 MTN Small Business Awards. Let's talk shop. TCs and more on primemediaplus.com.
702. WhatsApp John
on 072
702
1702.
Good afternoon, 702. Good afternoon, everyone in the studio there. Polani and Baybridge. So, on the topic of the gender issue, I've realized that, especially on roadblocks, if it's men versus men, it's a disaster. Nothing comes out well. But mostly what I've realized is, if there is a police officer who's a female and there's a man driving, you kind of get away with murder. Thank you, Polani and Bedbridge.
Hello, Ntate John and the 702 family at large. Quincy here. Oh my God, I'm gonna be controversial on this one. When it comes to gender preferences for specific occupations, honestly, based on experience, I prefer males as school principals. Nothing else. I've had, let me not rather get to it, but I prefer males for principals as to women. Thank you.
Yeah, it would have been interesting to get the reason. I thought you were going to give us a reason and then backing off a little bit there. Matibe says in criminal cases, I prefer a male black lawyer. In divorce cases, I prefer a female lawyer of any race. If you missed the question, by the way, we asked you, when it comes to certain occupations, interactions, people that you're going to be dealing with, I'm interested to know, do you have a gender preference on any of those? Sapati says, female gynecologist, my current one is a male, and I hope he doesn't see this. Okay, why don't you change instead of posting? Anyway, not my business, definitely yours, but saying you'd prefer a female. Smile says, doesn't matter as long as they are awesome at what they do. And LG has a similar view and says, competent. I prefer competent. Richard says, male petrol attendants any day. Morena says, male hairdressers, female ones, back when I used to do cornrows, nearly killed me with how tight they made my hair. I mean, people have complained about that before, saying that when they've had that kind of work done on their hair, the person makes it too tight. Just for someone who's never had that kind of hairdo done, can't you feel when it's too tight, and can't you say, a bit too tight, they can you loosen, or do you only discover later when you're out of there that in fact maybe this is that you've been strapped in a little more tightly than you'd like to be? That's off the point, by the way. But if someone just give me some insight into that experience, give us a call on 011 883 0702 and 072 702 1702. 19 minutes to 4.
EWN Sport.
Banyana in action against Algeria. 2 games being played. One of them is in the first half or close to halftime. Tolakele has details of that and plenty more. Good afternoon.
Afternoon, John. And South Africa have taken the lead in that clash, and Thabiseng Majia goal has given them a 1-0 lead over Algeria. This game is a special one for Bambanani Mbane, who's captaining the team on what is her 100th appearance for Banyana. Switching over to the Premier League, where Michael Carrick says he's not worried about Manchester United's discipline or form. That's after they suffered a surprise 2-1 defeat to Leeds last night. Lisandro Martinez was sent off as the Red Devils lost to their rivals at home for the first time since 1981. They were also booed off at halftime as they played their first competitive game in 24 days.
We've built enough of a foundation to kind of understand what we're good at, what we need to improve at. And moving forward, the end of the season, the games are going to be the games. It's a big end to the season. There's no getting away from it. So the mentality and the character and the boys wanting to do well and trying to give everything, I've never doubted that, and I won't doubt that. I think from what I've seen every day and for the games, it's there. We can certainly improve at certain things. The boys are desperate to do well and desperate to improve. And we've done a lot of good things so far. We need to do more of that for sure.
John Dobson has hit out the social media criticism of Salman Murat and Sasha Feinberg Mgomezulu. That's during the Stormers Champions Cup last 16 defeat to Toulon. Feinberg Mgomezulu was criticised after underpar performances and having had the captaincy taken from him after 3 games last month. For Murat, he's found himself under attack after he was revealed that he's leaving the side to take up an opportunity in France next season.
Guy comes, the captains us, puts in, got 2 men in the matches, 1 player of the match in the 4-match home sequence last year, gets knocked out in the 3rd minute of the quarterfinal, gone, puts his body on the line every time for the Stormers. Guy, a child of this community, and people are saying good riddance. Don't begin to understand it, and it's depressing, to be honest. And we're heading that same way. People blaming Sasha for everything. Yeah, just like on the drop goal thing at the end, was never part. Got across the line, Andre scored. So it's simple. The plan, you throw it back to Sasha, it's a 50-50. You go wide, it's way too long, we're defending 50-50. So it's certainly not Sasha's fault.
And world champion Perez Chipcher has withdrawn from this month's London Marathon after being diagnosed with an unspecified stress fracture, having finished 2nd in the Valencia Marathon in December. That delayed the start of her training, and the Kenyan has now told race organisers she must withdraw. Chipcher won the 2024 London Marathon in a women's only world record time of 2 hours, 16 minutes and 16 seconds, but missed last year's event because of an ankle injury. Tolakele Mganga, Eyewitness News Sport.
EWN Traffic.
16 minutes now to 4 o'clock. Traffic getting a little bit busier, I would imagine. But rather than have me imagine, let's get the facts. Kumotso Munyai, good afternoon.
Thank you, John. Unfortunately, they're not so bad. They're looking quite good. If you are leaving Sandton, traffic is starting to build up along Grayston Drive and Catherine Street. You can start bracing yourself for those peak time delays on the M1 South as they start trickling in from Oxford Road towards the Crown Interchange. Traffic is sluggish on the M2 West from the Crown Interchange to Main Reef Road. Look out for faulty traffic lights in Midrand at the N1 South and Olifantsfontein, in Midrand at Old Pretoria Road and Olifantsfontein Road, as well as in Pretoria CBD at Nanasita and Sisulu. Likewise, if you come across any other traffic, please do send us a WhatsApp on 072 702 1702.
There's more EWN on air, online, and on the EWN app.
Calling all small business owners. It's the 702 MTN Small Business Awards. Enter now on Prime Media Plus. Let's talk shop.
You're with John Perlman
on 702.
7:02. It's good to have you with us on the show. Coming up a little bit later after 4 o'clock. a second cabinet minister implicated in what appears to be a growing scandal where the Chinese government, its presence in South Africa, donated luxury SUVs for what they believe to be the use of the ANC Women's League. Already, the Minister of Social Development, Sisisi Tolashe, has been quizzed and questioned about 3 vehicles that she took control over. Now there's a second cabinet minister implicated who, like Minister Tolashe, stands accused of not sharing the vehicles with the intended recipient, but passing them on to members of her own family. More on that at 4:10 with Rebecca Davis joining us from Daily Maverick. It's time to get Tolakele Mganga's view on the question we were asking earlier when it comes to certain services or interactions that you have that are of a service-related nature. Do you have any gender preferences depending on what that service is? It might be dentists, it could be waiters, it could be traffic cops, which is not necessarily a service you guard looking for, but it is an interaction that does arise.
In terms of nutritionists, I would always prefer that it's a woman and preferably black, because also in terms of my diet and what kind of foods I eat, I can't go from eating like pap and rice and then you're going to say to me, eat bulgur wheat. It doesn't come from the same mind frame. And someone I know would prefer that a male officer be the one that stops her, because then they can use their pretty privilege to get out of a ticket, because they've never not gotten a ticket from a female officer. Someone I know would prefer that service.
Well, I've tried my, movie star good looks on female traffic officers. So far, no good.
They are strict.
Well, that's your polite way of saying maybe you don't have movie star looks, but that's another question altogether. But thank you, Tolakele. You phrased it with a diplomacy that I think is admirable. Seriously, though, please do keep those coming on. 011 883 0702 and 072 702 1702. It's 12 minutes to 4.
John Perlman
On 702.
3 to 6 p.m.
Right, let's focus our attention on something that, is not the major sort of diplomatic battle going on, but I think it's a very, very important one indeed. And that is the exchange of words, or certainly words going back and forth, because the exchanges haven't always been entirely direct, but on the one hand, stringent criticism on Pope Leo XIV on the US President's Truth Social post, in that President Donald Trump, and he criticized the Pope as, quote, weak on crime and terrible for foreign policy, accused him of catering to the radical left. The Pope and others at the Vatican have responded, sometimes in response to questions and sometimes unprompted. So what is the issue at stake here? And this happening at a time when the Pope is on an 11-day visit to 3 African countries. That's also something we're going to canvass with my next guest. Father Russell Pollitt is a Jesuit priest, parish priest at Holy Trinity in Braamfontein, and heads the Jesuit Institute. Father Pollitt, welcome, and thanks very much for giving us your time. You've written a piece where you set out some of your views on this issue on the Daily Maverick site, and people can go there and have a read of it. But one of the things you point out is the Vice President of the US, J.D. Vance, I should call him, said that the Vatican should stick to matters of morality, and you've responded by saying that is exactly what the Pope is doing. Tell us what you mean by that, and good afternoon to you.
Good afternoon, John, and good afternoon to all your listeners. Yes, Vance clearly was going to weigh in. He's a Catholic himself, who's newly found in the Catholic faith, and is apparently putting out a book fairly soon about his journey in faith. But he says that the Vatican should stick to matters of morality and let the President of the US stick to dictating public policy, when actually that's exactly what Pope Leo was doing. He was talking about the moral question of bombing, as we've seen happening in the Middle East, various countries where they are taking out infrastructure, they are hitting many civilian targets, and they are just causing misery to people. And for the Pope, this does not meet what we would call a just war theory. And so therefore, the Pope feels that he has to be a moral voice and call out this aggression and say there are other ways of solving these problems. And he would prefer to see dialogue and multilateralism.
In terms of the fact that Pope Leo XIV is a Chicago native and himself an American, does that give this any kind of other edge, or might this have happened in the time of Pope Francis, for example?
I think anybody who criticizes President Donald Trump is probably going to land up being smashed on social media. I mean, we've seen this happen over and over. There may be a sense for Trump, because he hints in that post that the Pope is an American because he's in the White House. I mean, he has this kind of illogical way of doing this, whereas I can tell you that certainly last year when they elected a Pope, they would not have been worrying about the man's nationality, but his ability to speak at this time in the world. No, and we've seen popes do this throughout history, right? Pope John the 23rd condemned the nuclear arms race in the Cold War. John Paul II condemned apartheid in South Africa. In fact, he refused to visit this country and then landed up actually having to land on his way to Lesotho.
Right.
He opposed the Iraqi invasion, warning that it would destabilize the Middle East. And we know 23 years later that this is what has happened. And we know Pope Francis decried wars and questions around migration. So I think that maybe Trump could have thought that an American Pope might be more aligned with him, but that's not who the Pope is.
Yes.
And remember, it's not about the man, it's about the office that he holds. And he made that very clear.
I would assume there are lively debates and possibly even significant lines of division within the Catholic Church itself, where there would be Catholics, given the large support that U.S. President Donald Trump got in the vote that brought him to the White House, who would say, we want the Pope to concentrate on religious matters and maybe issues of social morality, but stay absolutely out of politics. I mean, do you accept that there would be a divided view within the church itself?
Absolutely. And there would even be a divided view among some in the leadership in the church. There have been some bishops in the U.S. who have quite clearly aligned themselves with Donald Trump, with MAGA, and they have certainly given him a lot of airtime. Even yesterday, one of the bishops responded saying, well, you know, that Trump should apologize to the Pope. What he said was not good enough. However, he goes on to say, but I must praise him for, you know, he's the president that's done the most for religious liberty in the United States. So even within the church, you will find these divisions. But I think if I'm reading the signs of the times right and I'm listening, I think people who were Trump supporters, or maybe you even were sitting on the fence about this, Catholics, I think this may have tipped them. I think attacking the Pope, as Trump did, in such a kind of unhinged way, I think even people who were wary of the Pope might be saying, this was just a little bit too far.
I want to focus, then we'll probably come around to where we started, Father Pollard, but the visit of the Pope to Africa, Algeria, first stop, Cameroon, Angola, and Equatorial Guinea. Correct me if I've heard this wrong, and it may just need a little slight reframing, but the area where the Catholic Church is showing the greatest growth has been on our continent. As I understand it, African worshippers, members of the Catholic Church, now make up about 20% of the Catholic Church. Is the Pope simply doing this as part of a round of visits, or is there a particular purpose that Africa is on his agenda? I think it's fair to say fairly early in his time as Pope.
Yes, you are absolutely correct. 20% of the world's Catholics are in Africa. The church is certainly growing in Africa. That's according to the Vatican statistics. And the Pope is visiting these nations that you mentioned. Some of them, for example, are overwhelmingly Muslim, like Algeria, with under 10,000 Catholics in its population. I think he's doing a couple of things here. I think, first of all, he's wanting to turn the world's attention to Africa, because I think, first of all, the church is growing, but second of all, a lot of still the social, economic, political problems in the world we see on this continent. Second of all, I think he's still trying to do what Pope Francis began. The Pope, especially under Francis, is someone who wants to move across these divides, and especially the religious divides. And that's why sometimes even the kind of religious language that's being used in the war in the Middle East, the Pope has condemned. So he's doing that. But I think as well, the Pope wants to go, and as he said himself, he wants to bring a message of peace. He wants to encourage some of those places where we know people have been in power for a long, long time, and many people say that, they are dictators. He's going into those places, and he's talking about democracy. He's talking about peace. He's talking about good governance.
Yes.
And we know he's also condemning war. So I think these are the kinds of messages that the Pope will be taking to all these places. And I think they have been very carefully chosen as well. For example, him being an Augustinian, he's going to Algeria, he's going to ancient Hippo, where St. Augustine comes from. So there's something symbolic about that as well, him making his mark and really finding his feet in his papacy.
Thanks so much, Father Russell Pollard, Jesuit priest, head of the Jesuit Institute, also the parish priest at Holy Trinity in Braamfontein. Anybody who wants to come or comment on this, of course, more than welcome on 072-702-1702 if you are yourself a Catholic, active in the Catholic Church in any way or not. You may have some very particular and focused thoughts on what's passed over a couple of days now between the President of the United States and some of his supporters and people like his deputy, J.D. Vance, and the Vatican's response on the other. By all means, get in touch and give us your view. What do you think? 072-702-1702.
The Midday Report with Mandy Wiener.
The Midday Report at its heart is a current affairs show, but it really is a show about everything you need to know about and everything you didn't know you needed to know about. Our listener is sharp, plugged in, curious, has developed opinions, but is still open to learning new things. My favorite part is how witty, sharp, and funny our listener is. What we cover every day is breaking news, current affairs, politics, the courts, global developments, science, education, popular culture, sports, books, and of course, good things too. I like to think of it as a lunchbox with a little bit of everything. What I love about 702 Land is that it is full of energy. There's always something happening, a developing story to follow. But it's not parochial. The 702 family cares about what is happening in the world around them and how we plug into that.
The Midday Report with Mandy Wiener. Weekdays from 12 to 1 p.m.
Moving to a bigger office space can be expensive. Thanks to My Way Business Insurance, I get to save up to 20% on my insurance premiums every month. Plus, I get My Business Assist, which helps me with marketing, legal, and admin services. Saving money while growing my business is a great win for me.
Switch to My Way Business Insurance and save up to 20% on your monthly premiums. Real businesses, real savings. Call us on 0860 646464 today for a quote. My Way is a licensed non-life insurer and FSP. Standard rates and T's and C's apply.
Evolution doesn't wait. Introducing the Changan Uni S. Unexpected, unmistakable, uncompromising. Engineered to a higher standard, unlike anything in its class. Unsurprising really from China's oldest automaker. Trusted by 30 million drivers worldwide. Visit changanmotors.co.za for more. The Changan Uni S.
Changan. Driven to evolve.
Imagine a holiday where the only thing on the to-do list is enjoy yourself. With Norwegian Cruise Line, you can sail to over 400 destinations worldwide effortlessly. Visit ncl.com for the best deals or contact your travel agent today. Norwegian Cruise Line. It's different out here. T's and C's apply.
The Money Show.
Weekday evenings at 6.
Mario, you are one of the businesses feeling the pinch of this current oil increase.
We're an electrical business that at one point had about 65 employees. But over the years, just
increase in fuel costs, increase, the economy being stagnant. We have had to let go of about 45 employees already. I have to actually now go and look for a job myself, having had this business and started it for about 12 years.
Oh, Mario, my heart breaks for you. I mean, it's the real economy effects of the geopolitical tensions that we're seeing.
The Money Show
on 702. Let's walk the talk.
The Money Show is brought to you by ABSA CIB. Invested in your story because your story matters. ABSA is an authorized FSP and registered credit provider.
This is EWN.
Action SA wants another minister fired over Chinese car donations, and JSC to recommend Aubrey Ledwaba for Gauteng Judge President position. Good afternoon, I'm Bali Dlamini. Action SA wants the President to fire Minister of Planning, Monitoring and Evaluation, Maropeni Ramogopa. This follows allegations that she may have also been on the receiving end of a Chinese donation of cars. An ongoing investigation by the Daily Maverick has revealed that Social Development Minister Sisisi Tolashe may not have been the only one to have diverted donations meant for the ANC Women's League to family and associates. Action SA MP Dereline James says she will be returning to the police station to also lay a criminal complaint against Ramogopa. Lindsay Dentlinger reports.
What started out as reports of 2 Chinese vehicle donations having been diverted to the children of Minister Sisisi Tolashe has now grown to a bigger expose of the Daily Maverick, tracking 3 more vehicles to people connected to Minister Maropeni Ramogopa. Just a week after filing complaints against Tolashe, Action SA's Dereline James says she will now also pursue similar complaints against Ramogopa with the police, the public protector and Parliament for corruption, breaches of the Executive Ethics Act and misleading Parliament for failing to disclose the donations or gifts. James says the Daily Maverick investigation appears to indicate that Ramogopa used the same tactics in allegedly registering one of the vehicles in the name of her son.
What is emerging as a cause for cadres for their kids scheme within the executive.
Meanwhile, the DA says it will submit parliamentary questions to Ramogopa to determine whether she failed to disclose any gifts and whether she obtained presidential approval to keep them. Lindsay Dentlinger, Eyewitness News, Parliament.
The Madlanga Commission says controversial Northwest businessman Suleiman Karim will no longer be testifying on Thursday following health complications. Yesterday, Karim was admitted to hospital following an undisclosed health incident that took place while he was at a Sandton gym. Karim is currently still in the hospital. Commission spokesperson Jeremy Michaels says his lawyers have confirmed that he will not be in a condition to testify on Thursday.
It's pretty evident that he is not going to be able to appear if he's in hospital. And in any event, the Commission wouldn't want to put him under unnecessary and undue strain. So we will await confirmation of his condition formally, but we are working on the basis that he's not going to be able to appear on Thursday.
The Val Business Corporation insists that slain Mfuleni accountant Martha Rantsofu was indeed a whistleblower. The corporation CEO Klippus Kritzinger says he met Rantsofu weeks before her death to discuss a suspicious payment that did not reflect on the municipality's bank accounts. Rantsofu, who was laid to rest at the weekend, was shot execution style at a tire shop in Vanderbijl Park last month. CCTV footage of the killing has since surfaced online. Kritzinger says Rantsofu uncovered a scheme in which municipal employees erase debt in exchange for bribes.
From what I can gather, that person is no longer working in Mfuleni that actually committed this fraud. And yeah, I have a suggestion that maybe, but hopefully I will be I'm requested to talk to the SAPs about this. But yeah, I can actually say exactly what I know.
Meanwhile, the municipality has denied claims linking Rantsofu to whistleblowing on a 16 million rand tender, saying the allegations are false and unrelated to her. The Judicial Service Commission has resolved to recommend Gauteng Acting Judge President Ledwaba to head up that division. Ledwaba was the only candidate interviewed for the top job today. He has been acting in the position since the former head, Justice Dunstan Mlambo, was appointed to the Deputy Chief Justice position. Khomotso Modise reports.
Your candidature, I think this is the elephant in the room. Your candidature is shrouded in this dark cloud, which you don't deserve.
Acting Gauteng Judge President Ledwaba spent more than 2 hours in an interview that was initially scheduled for just 40 minutes, fielding tough questions on his appointment, the bulk of which were around the corruption allegations against him at the Madlanga Commission. Just before going into what promised to be intense deliberations, Chief Justice Mandisa Maya asked Ledwaba why the JSC should not wait until he's been cleared by the Madlanga Commission.
There has been other clouds, as I've mentioned, that were made. And to say that all these allegations need to be cleared first, I don't think that is in the interest of justice.
Ledwaba, who's a step closer to heading up the country's busiest division, has denied that the allegations are serious, dismissing them as hearsay. The JSC will recommend his appointment to head up the Gauteng division of the courts permanently to President Cyril Ramaphosa. Khomotso Modise, Eyewitness News.
We shift now to a story which contains some disturbing details. The ANC in Johannesburg is calling for the National Sex Offenders Register to be made public. The call comes after a 58-year-old man appeared in court today for allegedly raping a 12-year-old child. It's alleged the incident took place at his home in Dobsonville, Soweto over the Easter weekend. He appeared in the Roodepoort Magistrates Court today, where his bail application was postponed to next week. Today, various political parties, civic groups and learners staged a demonstration outside the court in support of the victim. ANC Johannesburg chairperson Loyiso Masugu was also there.
Make sure that these people don't roam around in our communities. They don't become repeat offenders because we know them. The reason we are here to picket today, it is to demonstrate our commitment.
And the International Monetary Fund has warned that the global economy is at risk of recession should the US-Israel war with Iran persist. Energy prices have soared since the war began 6 weeks ago after the Strait of Hormuz shipping route effectively closed and peace talks between the US and Iran failed. In its World Economic Outlook report, the IMF says in the worst-case scenario where oil, gas and food prices spike, global growth could fall below 2% this year. The IMF adds that the most severe conditions that could lead to a worldwide slowdown would include oil prices reaching an average $110 per barrel this year and hitting $125 a barrel next year. Gold is trading at $4,786.89 an ounce. The rand is at 16.41 to the dollar, 22.17 to the pound, 19.28 to the euro, and Brent crude oil is at $98.41 a barrel.
In the traffic, look out for those peak time delays on the N3 South from the Betlu interchange, as well as on the M1 South from the Kilani Bends towards the Crown interchange.
In your sport, the latest from the friendly between Banyana and Algeria. Michael Carrick not panicking after Manchester United suffer surprise Premier League defeat to Leeds. And Perez Chepchirchir withdraws from the London Marathon. A partly cloudy Wednesday in store for Gauteng tomorrow with scattered showers and thunder showers expected. Johannesburg drops to overnight lows of 12 degrees, peaking at 20. Pretoria 15 and 24 and Vereeniging 14 and 21 degrees. The top story in EWN this hour, Action SA wants the President to fire Minister of Planning, Monitoring and Evaluation Marupeni Ramogopa.
EWN, in touch, in tune and independent. For the latest, visit ewn.co.za or download the EWN app.
From the townships to the suburbs and everywhere in between, it's the 702 MTN Small Business Awards. Enter now on Prime Media Plus. Let's talk shop.
702.
Drive home with John Perlman.
John Perlman, 3 to 6 p.m.
on 92.7 and 106 FM. Let's walk the talk.
7:02 Drive, it's 10 minutes past 4. Good to have you with us on the show. Coming up in a moment, we'll be talking to Rebecca Davis, journalist, who has done some investigations into the handover of 5 luxury Chinese SUVs to two members of the South African cabinet. Now, they were meant to be for the ANC Women's League, but they are in turn actually finding their way, it would seem, based on this research that's been done by Rebecca, getting handed over to members of those 2 cabinet ministers' families. More on that in a moment. It raises some very, very important issues, not just for the ministers concerned, but arguably creates some difficult issues for President Cyril Ramaphosa, given that the second of these, as you heard a moment ago in the news bulletin, is the Minister of Planning, Monitoring and Evaluation, Marupini Ramokgopa, who actually, her ministry sits in the presidency. So that story coming up shortly. A little bit later on the show, we are going to be looking at what's coming up or has been happening at the Madlanga Commission of Inquiry. Tabiso Goba, EWN reporter, is busy listening in very, very closely indeed as Brigadier Julius Mkhwanazi, suspended head of the Kuruleni Metro Police Department, is being quizzed on all sorts of aspects of his work. That interview with Tabiso coming your way after 5 o'clock. We asked you about professions where you have a particular preference, either to be assisted or interact with either a man or a woman, in other words, someone of a specific gender, and you've come up with some very interesting answers, including Michael, who says, I prefer female property agents. They are very honest and reliable. By implication, they are more honest and reliable than men in the estate agents business. And Joseph makes a similar point about a comparable industry, I suppose. He says, me, core bank, I prefer a lady because they know exactly how to budget. Interesting. Keep those coming. In fact, quite a few of you have sent your comments already. A few of you responding as well to our interview with Father Russell Pollitt, who is joining us, who had joined us from the Jesuit Institute of South Africa. He is the Catholic priest at Holy Trinity in Braamfontein as well. Let's hear a few of your thoughts.
Hi, Ntate John. Yeah, for me, it has to be spa massage. Spa massage must be done by a female. I can't imagine a male doing spa massage. Yeah, that one is a no-no.
Hi, Ntate John, Mike and Orange Grove. The signs of dictatorship is when people around him are yes people. They don't question whatever is being said, and they just agree to anything. First term of Trump, he had people who were independent in thinking, never radical. That's why most of them will end up resigning along the way. Plenty of them did, or even getting fired. This time around, he picked people who read him well, who will just say yes, who will defend him, even if they know whatever they are saying doesn't make sense or it's rubbish. This is the stage where we are at currently. So sad.
Thanks for those. Keep them coming on 011 883 0702 and 072 702 1702. 14 minutes past 4. Let's catch up with the very latest traffic news.
EWN Traffic.
N3 in north-south, I'm not too sure, but heading one way or another from Sandton, we're getting some delays. Kumotso Munyai with the clarification on that.
Thank you, John. It's definitely if you are leaving Sandton. There are those peak time delays building up on the N3 South from the Betlu interchange, as well as the M1 South is moving steadily with slight delays from the Killarney Bends towards the Crown interchange with about a 10-minute delay. While in the opposite direction, there's slow moving traffic on the M1 North. This is from Caller Drive to the Betlu interchange. If you are heading to Midrand, traffic is a little sluggish between Allendale Road and New Road. Lastly, look out for faulty traffic lights on Kyalami at Main and R55, in Edenvale at the N3 and Modderfontein Road, and in the capital city, also look out for faulty traffic lights in Centurion at Old Johannesburg and Brakfontein. If you come across any other traffic, you know what to do. 072 702 1702.
There's more EWN on air, online, and on the EWN app.
You're with John Perlman
on 702.
Coming up at 10 to 5, we're meeting another of the finalists in the 702 MTN Small Business Awards. Let's talk shop. Let's talk about a small business doing big things.
Aubrey Masango.
Weekday evenings,
8 to midnight.
Elon Musk, this sudden need to develop the rural areas, the poor people of South Africa, by the entrance of Starlink to South Africa. But you've got to ask yourself that if this country is such a genocidal, racist, evil country, why would you want to do business with those people? If the entrance of Starlink is going to improve the lives of the poor people in the rural areas, why isn't it not doing the same thing in Zimbabwe or Lesotho? We're not seeing too much development happening there.
Aubrey Masango.
8 to midnight on 702.
702.
You may or may not know the difference between gelato and ice cream, but you do know a greater OUTsurance deal. When you see one, get a car insurance quote now. And if OUTsurance can't save you money, ask for 500 Rand or 1,500 if you've been claim-free and with the same insurer for 3 years. Get savings or cash. SMS out to 45142. That's out to 45142. OUTsurance, licensed insurer and FSP. TCs and information online.
Bar Black Sheep. Have you any wool? Yes, sir. More than 3 bags full. We think beyond today, tomorrow, more. Look up, look far ahead. We may choose to leave the herd. There's greener grass where fewer care to tread. Bar Black Sheep. Proof of what we do. Better for clients for over 20 years. Courage, we hold the course for you. Bar Black Sheep. If you want more wool, it takes black sheep thinking. Camissa Asset Management. Invest different. Camissa Asset Management is a licensed FSP.
702 and MTN Business are celebrating small business owners who really walk that entrepreneurial talk, proving that big things can grow from bold ideas. It's the 702 MTN Small Business Awards, and standout SMEs are stepping into the spotlight, from the townships to the suburbs and everywhere in between. Tune in to 702 Breakfast with Bongani Bingwa and 702 Drive with me, John Perlman, every weekday to meet our finalists and hear their stories. And if you're running a small business or know one that should be part of this conversation, there is still time to enter or nominate at primediaplus.com, because the next business we talk about could be yours. The 702 MTN Small Business Awards. Let's talk shop. TCs and more on primediaplus.com.
You're with John Perlman on 702.
Let's walk the talk.
Well, there's been an extraordinary and very intriguing series of stories on the Daily Maverick website. Both of them concern luxury Chinese SUV vehicles given by the embassy, the diplomatic presence of China in South Africa, ostensibly to the African National Congress's Women's League for the use of that organization. The early episode or early editions of the story focus first on Social Development Minister Sisisi Tolashe, who was exposed as having handed over 2 of those vehicles to members of her family. However, now there's a further revelation that is published on the site, on the news site, that Minister of Planning, Monitoring and Evaluation, Marupini Ramokgopa, has also received a number of these vehicles. Again, this time 3 of them, by the way, ostensibly to be used in the work of the ANC Women's League, but these have also passed on into the hands of people for more personal use. So, what are we going to do about this would be the question that perhaps the president is asking, because Minister Ramokgopa, her ministry actually sits within the presidency. The Minister of Social Development, clearly part of the president's cabinet, so it's not as if that wasn't a dilemma for him as well. Seems to be getting a little closer, though, to the absolute heights of government in South Africa. Let's talk to the journalist who's been digging into this. Rebecca Davis joins us now on 702 Drive. Rebecca, a very good afternoon to you. I have to ask you this. Is this it now? Are there only 5 vehicles or might there be more?
I mean, to the best of my knowledge, there were only 5 in this one transaction, John.
Right.
That's as firmly as I can say it.
Okay, so the Chinese authorities, the embassy and the diplomatic presence here has not commented at all, but the ANC Women's League, and let's just establish this as a point of clarification, on all 5 vehicles in regard to both ministers, has said, we know nothing about the cars. Am I correct on that?
That's absolutely correct.
Okay, so we know it's 5 cars. The Chinese diplomats in South Africa are saying nothing, and the ANC Women's League says, nope, never seen them. We were never informed about this. Tell us then about Minister Ramokgopa. What have you established about where these 3 vehicles ended up so far?
Well, it's important to note that there's no indication that anything about this handover of vehicles from Chinese officials, which is what we believe, representatives of the Chinese government in some way, to these 2 ANC Women's League officials. There's no indication that that happened in public view at all, right, John?
Right.
Which is interesting in itself, because I'm sure you'd agree that when foreign governments make these gestures, and they often do, the Chinese government often gives out, cars to police stations in Joburg and the rest, they normally want a lot of hubbub about it. They want press, they want PR, in order to show what a great, caring country China is. So the fact that this doesn't seem to have happened in any kind of public way is in itself very interesting and might do something to explain why it is that Chinese authorities seem so very unkeen to comment on this. We believe that the handover of the cars in whatever format it took to these 2 officials of the ANC Women's League, Tolashe and Ramokgopa, happened at the same time, which was at some point between October and December 2024. In the case of Tolashe's vehicles, 2 vehicles, we were able to trace them back to having been released from a dealership on the 19th of December 2024.
Right.
We put it later in that time frame. And we assume that Ramokgopa's vehicles came from the same source because they're the exact same cars, the same model, the same year, etc. What helped in the case of tracking the Tolashe cars was that we had a photograph from when they were allegedly first, delivered or arrived at Tolashe's residence. And that photograph included the license plate number.
Right.
That was invaluable because we could use that to track the cars. In the case of Minister Ramokgopa, we didn't have that, so we had to go about it the other way around, which is to say, checking whether any of the ministers in the circle nearest and dearest had suddenly had a car like that registered in their name, since the sources were giving us a fairly good idea of the recipients of the cars. And we swiftly found out that one of them, without question, they're called a bike, a X55 SUV, 500,000 Rand, give or take, had been registered in the name of Ramokgopa's son, Kantilomzi Ntuli, on the 30th of January 2024. That is the exact same car that was registered in Tolashe's daughter's name, even down to the color. And it's exactly the same kind of time frame, though Tolashe's daughter was only registered 2 or 3 months later. So that seems a pretty cut and dried case, John, unless you believe in such an extraordinary sequence of coincidences that, Ramokgopa's son decided to buy himself this car at exactly the same period when Sisisi Tolashe's kids had been given them by their mother, which seems unlikely. But I must say, Ramokgopa's spokesperson told us twice the minister did not receive any cars from a Chinese official. We went back, we said, we have this evidence, we have this registration record. What is your response? Came back again. The minister did not receive any cars from a Chinese official, this very kind of robotic line. And then finally nothing when we asked the minister if she could please produce an alternative explanation as to how the car arrived in her son's possession.
So somebody might say that supports both these ministers, this is an issue for the ANC Women's League because the vehicles were not donated, let's say in the case of Minister Tolashe, to support people who are assisting grant recipients to get to post offices. This is a party matter. Why is it of national importance in your view? I know in the case of Minister Tolashe, as I understand it, there's an answer she gave in Parliament that was in contradiction of the facts you've established. But in the case of Minister Ramokgopa, what if she were to turn around and say, this is a domestic, knock on someone else's door?
Well, first of all, as you say, the first issue with Tolashe is that she lied to Parliament. She said unequivocally these cars were donated to the ANC Women's League. The ANC Women's League's response was effectively, we don't know what you're talking about. In the case of both these women, they are in violation of the Executive Ethics Code, which governs the conduct of cabinet ministers, and the Code of Ethical Conduct for MPs. So the Executive Ethics Code prohibits ministers from, quote, using their position or any information entrusted to them to enrich themselves or improperly benefit any other person, and it makes disclosure of all gifts above 350 Rand mandatory. And the Code of Ethical Conduct for MPs also mandates the disclosure of gifts. Now, neither of them disclosed these cards as gifts in the Parliament's registry of members' interests. So they're definitely in violation, if it was personal gifts, of that code. In terms of not being in what would require them not to be in violation of the Executive Ethics Code is that they would have had to disclose receiving these cards to the President, who would have had to give them his explicit thumbs up to take these cards as gifts. Now, I don't know about you, John, but I find it extremely difficult to believe that Cyril Ramaphosa gave his permission for both these women to accept kind of, inexplicable gifts of, in Tolashe's case, R1 million rands worth of cards, and in Ramaphosa's case, 1.5 million rands worth of cards from a foreign government. So there's that.
No, finish the thought.
There's that. Then there's the fact that, Ramaphosa has now lied to the media. If this is all true, as we think it is, she has said outright, this isn't the case. And then there is the factor of the internal matter to the ANC. And this, John, I think is what is ultimately going to hoist these women by their own petard, so to speak. Because that is, I suspect, going to be seen as a really grievous offense. If Tolashe and Ramaphosa are now viewed as effectively having stolen from the organization, which is to say the ANC as a whole, then I suspect Cyril Ramaphosa will have very little choice but to significantly demote them, because I cannot imagine that the ANC rank and file will take well to that. It's already claimed that the knowledge of the cards is really widespread within the ANC Women's League, both at the leadership level and at the level of ordinary members, well before we published our exposés.
Thanks so much, Rebecca Davis. You can read about it on the Daily Maverick site, 28 minutes past 4.
EWN.
Right, let's get the very latest from the markets. Better day for the JSC, not as good in the afternoon from what I can gather as it was in the morning, but up is better than down. Muteo Khwaripe has the details.
Good afternoon, John. Well, green is better than red, but we start here. Now the Prudential Authority says that the struggling bank, African Bank, has been flagged for trying to artificially inflate its capital position. The Financial Services Tribunal also backs the view of the Prudential Authority, saying African Bank was dabbling in the frowned-upon practice of kite flying. Now, the tribunal described the scheme as involving synchronized electronic entries where money left the bank only to return under another name, which it found reminiscent of kite flying, a check fraud scheme that creates artificial balances. Now, banks in South Africa are required to constantly share their capital position with the South African Reserve Bank's Prudential Authority, primarily to ensure financial stability and comply with strict regulations, including making sure that there is public confidence in the banking sector. Then looking at the markets, a far more positive day for the JSE before market close, about 30 minutes out. The all shared 1,868 points. Industrials are up more than 1%. Banking stocks up more than 0.5%, with mining shares up 2.7%. The rand at this hour, 16 rand 34 against the US dollar, up 0.5% against the greenback. 19 rand 25 cents against the euro, and you'll need 22 rand 99 cents to get a British pound. Price of gold up more than 1% at $4,797 an ounce, while platinum is up close to 1% at $2,096. Brent crude keeping low this afternoon, down 2.5% at $95 a barrel. I'll bring you more business and what's on the Money Show in about an hour.
Thanks, Muteo. Back with us at around 25 minutes past 5. Right now it's 4:30. Let's get the very latest eyewitness news with Mbali Dlamini. Some political shifts ahead of local government elections, I would assume. What's been going on?
That's correct, John. A very good afternoon. Well, Build One South Africa has announced a formal merger with the People's Prosperity Movement to contest the upcoming local government elections. The parties say their merger will go a long way in consolidating what they call reform-minded political forces. BOSA leader Mmusi Maimane and PPM leader Chad Lowe made that announcement in Parliament today. Babalondenze reports.
BOSA leader Mmusi Maimane says the merger agreement will see the full incorporation of PPM into BOSA through a structured integration of leadership, membership, systems and programs. Maimane says following the merger, the smaller PPM will cease to exist as a standalone political entity and will operate entirely within BOSA's national framework.
Because ultimately what that will mean is that all the structures, all the operations of PPM will become part of BOSA.
PPM leader Chad Lowe, a former ANC and Patriotic Alliance member, says the two parties are a good fit.
And definitely I must say that we have found that synergy between the leadership of PPM and the leadership of Build One South Africa.
The merger between the two parties follows a similar plan involving BOSA, Rise Mzansi and the Good Party to collaborate under one banner for the elections, but that plan has been postponed until after the elections. Babalondenze, Eyewitness News, Parliament.
The Gauteng High Court has ordered controversial entertainment blogger Musa Kaula to apologize to EFF leader Julius Malema for making false and defamatory comments about him. In February, Kaula falsely claimed on a post on X that Malema's wife Mandwa had filed for divorce. In a judgment handed down today, Kaula's comments have been declared unlawful and defamatory. Thabiso Koba has more.
EFF leader Julius Malema joins a long list of high-profile figures who have successfully sued entertainment blogger Musa Kaula for defamatory comments. This list includes ANC Secretary General Philip Mbalula, businessman Zane Nxumalo, and his wife, former Miss South Africa Tamarin Green. Today's judgment shows Kaula's false claims about Malema's marriage were picked up and reshared by at least 18 different media publications or blogs. Kaula has been ordered to remove the comments from his X account and issue an apology within 24 hours of the judgment. In a separate matter, Kaula currently has an arrest warrant out for him after he failed to appear in court for his 2022 murder case, where he stands accused of killing his former boyfriend, Wandile Kambule. Thabiso Koba, Eyewitness News.
Let's stay in the courts. A captain in the South African Police Service has denied working with alleged underworld gang boss Nafis Modak to expose senior police officers for corruption. Captain Alfred Barker returned to the witness stand in the Western Cape High Court today. Modak, who faces 122 charges related to allegedly operating a criminal enterprise, insists that Barker gave him instructions to pay certain top cops in an effort to show they were corrupt. Carlo Peterson reports.
Captain Alfred Barker has denied instructing Nafis Modak to pay retired top cop Jeremy Vieri in a plot to show Vieri was allegedly corrupt. Barker told the court in 2018 he took statements from Modak detailing allegations that Vieri and slain top cop Charles Kinnear were extorting money from him for the return of firearms confiscated from his home. The captain says after investigating Modak's claims, he handed over a docket to the Director of Public Prosecutions, but nothing came of it. Facing questions from the state, Barker today denied instructing Modak to continue paying Vieri in a bid to show he was corrupt.
If he thought that I was working with him, that's the wrong impression that he created in court. I never worked with Modak, was never informal for me. I never worked with Modak to say giving him information. Modak was just ordinary complainant.
The trial continues. Carlo Peterson, Eyewitness News, Western Cape High Court.
And in Spain, government is expected to approve a decree to regularize around 500,000 undocumented migrants. Prime Minister Pedro Sanchez made the announcement in a letter posted on social media. Sanchez has long argued that Spain needs migration to fill workforce gaps and counteract an aging population. The measure will affect people living in Spain for at least 5 months and who applied for international protection before December 2025. A cloudy Wednesday in store for Gauteng tomorrow with scattered showers and thundershowers expected. Lows of between 12 and 15 degrees and highs of between 20 and 24.
The M1 South is moving steadily with slight delays from the Killarney Bends towards the Crown interchange, while in the opposite direction there's slow-moving traffic on the M1 North from Corlett Drive to the Butlu interchange.
The top story in EWN, Build One South Africa has announced a formal merger with the People's Prosperity Movement to contest the upcoming local government elections.
702 Breakfast with Bongani Bingwa.
My show is about getting you informed by the time you get to the office, your place of business, or wherever you need to go. Hopefully you have a fairly good idea what's happening in Johannesburg, in Gauteng, and around the world. We want you to be part of those water cooler conversations, and you will be part of those conversations because you'll be a better informed citizen. What I like about the 702 family and 702 land is the ecosystem that we have built, the community. It's all about connection because we may be different, but ultimately the people you talk to and the people you hear are facing issues just like you.
702 Breakfast with Bongani Bingwa. Weekdays from 6 to 9 a.m.
Stop and think. Will you survive the AI revolution or thrive? Regenesis students are thriving. 11 cutting-edge schools, 111 countries. World-class team of 1,111 with one mission: awakening your potential. Choose from law, business, technology, AI, health, economics, entrepreneurship, public management, skills academy, and digital Regenesis. Undergraduate, postgraduate, upskilling, customized corporate programs. The question isn't, can you afford to enroll? It's, can you afford not to? Enroll now. Regenesis.net. Achieve your dreams.
When I say insurance, you say pineapple. Insurance.
Pineapple.
Insurance.
Pineapple.
Insurance.
Pineapple.
Pineapple FSP 48650 is underwritten by Omart Insure Limited, a licensed non-life insurer and authorized FSP.
702. WhatsApp John
on 072
702
1702.
Hi, John. I am all for women empowerment, but a bus driver or a taxi driver that is a female, I'm not comfortable. I still prefer a male or a male taxi driver or a male bus driver.
Hi, Dr. John and the listeners. I think my preference in terms of the airline pilot, I would prefer it to be a male, just because, if I notice that is a woman, for some reason I struggle to sleep. So yeah, I hope I'm gonna get used to that and somehow transform. And thank you.
Yeah, the question we asked a little bit earlier, areas where you, or particular interactions, services that you require, where you have a gender preference on who should be assisting you. Mahali says female gynae and massage therapist. Somebody else said he prefers, I can't see the name. Lerato, a female gynecologist, and a male to cut my hair. And I think it was Brent who said that he would prefer to have a man as his PA. So give us a call on that, still on 011 8830 702. We're going to change the topic in just a moment, but first let's do sport.
EWN Sport.
Banyana up against Algeria at the Princess Magogos Stadium down in KZN. What's the latest on that, Tola Kele?
Well, John, we're into the 81st minute in South Africa that still continue to lead 1-0. That's courtesy of Nthabiseng Majia goal in the 35th minute. Of course, it's a special game for Captain Bambanani Mbane, who's making her 100th appearance for the national team. Switching over to Europe, where two semi-finalists will be confirmed this evening in the UEFA Champions League as the second leg quarterfinals take place. Atletico Madrid and PSG are both 2-0 up in their ties against Barcelona and Liverpool respectively. Arne Slot was criticised for adopting an overly cautious approach in the first game and says that won't be the case tonight as he counts on the Anfield factor to turn the game in the favour.
The approach tomorrow will be to take the risk because that's first of all what we need. But to get the ball off them, you need to press them. And we saw how difficult it is to press these players. But that was the same last season where Anfield did make a big difference for us last season. And I'm expecting it to make a big difference for us tomorrow as well.
Luis Enrique expects the Parisians to have plenty of possession of the ball despite the Reds needing to score goals to advance. He's also discussed what philosophy he'll be employing as he looks to stay on track to defend their title.
It's going to be difficult. It's difficult to have control. When they press all the time, they need to score goals. It means they have to take risks. It's going to be a lot of space and it's a different match. We can manage the ball. We love to manage the ball. We love to have possession of the ball. But we can attack also with spaces, and we love attacking in counter-attack also.
Bournemouth manager Andoni Iraola will leave the Premier League club at the end of the season when his contract comes to an end. Iraola took charge at Bournemouth in 2023 as he replaced Gary O'Neill and helped them record their highest ever points tally of 56 in the 2024-25 campaign. He's been linked with the Atletico Bilbao job, whose manager Ernesto Valverde is set to leave the club at the end of the season. And Mark Alexander will formally begin his third and final full term as SA Rugby Union president from the 14th of May. That's after he was the only nominee for the role when the deadline for nominations for a 4-year term closed on Monday. Alexander first took charge in an interim capacity back in 2016. That follows the resignation of incumbent Oregon Hoskins and was nominated by representatives of SARU's 11-member unions. Meanwhile, 8 nominations were received for the 2 open positions on the Executive Council. That's ahead of the AGM in Cape Town next month. Tola Mganga, Eyewitness News Sport.
EWN Traffic.
Latest from the roads now at 18 to 5. Difficulties out in the Edenvale area. Details with Khumotso Munyai.
Thank you, John. We will start in Edenvale. Traffic on the R24 is moving slow in both directions. This is heading towards the Kalulis interchange and also coming back from it. If you are leaving Sandton, allow some extra time for those peak time delays on the N3 South from the Batlu interchange through to the Kalulis interchange. If you are heading to Midrand, traffic is a little sluggish between Allendale Road and New Road. And in the capital city, you can anticipate some peak time delays in and around Hermanstad on Eskempatlele Drive between the R80 and FW Ngoma Street, as well as on Paul Kruger Street and Steve Biko Road. And lastly, all the way in Soweto and Protea Glen, there's traffic pressure on Main Road as you approach the R558. Likewise, if you come across any more traffic on your side, please do send us a tweet on X at EWN Traffic.
There's more EWN on air, online, and on the EWN app.
Calling all small business owners. It's the 702 MTN Small Business Awards. Enter now on Prime Media Plus. Let's talk shop.
You're with John Perlman
on 702.
702 Drive. So yesterday we had an interesting conversation about a court case that's gone all the way to the Concord between the South African Heritage Agency. I'm missing a word in there. It's the SAHRA, Resource Agency, I think it is. Anyway, South African Heritage Resource Agency on the one hand, and members of the Mandela family on the other. This in regard to the question of who all the many mementos and things that were given to former president, the late Nelson Mandela. Who do those belong to? Should they be in a museum? Do they belong to the country? Related question, not identical, but related, has also come up now where there's a dispute on the one hand between, on the one hand, the Robben Island Museum and then the Association of Political Prisoners. And the latter are objecting to the conversion of warders' housing on the island to tourism accommodation. And they are saying, and we try to get interviews with both parties, we'll keep at it, but they're saying this cannot be done without some benefits accruing to the political prisoners. So I'm not entirely sure whether it's an in-principle objection saying absolutely not, under no circumstances, or saying nothing about us without us, and that they want to be part of any plan that is made. But it raises a very interesting question for me. Should there be an element of commercialization in support of the many, many places and monuments and sites that reflect important aspects of South African history? And few carry the weight, I think it's fair to say, than Robben Island does. Or should they absolutely be subsidized, paid for by the state, by the taxpayer, by you, supported and cross-subsidized to a degree by the fees that people would pay as they do to go out to Robben Island? But beyond that, there should be no commercialization of the space at all. And I wonder what your view on that would be. Give us a call on 011 883 0702. Tourism on Robben Island, beyond what we already have, Tolakele, i.e. go out for a visit and come back on the boat, having seen things that move you, hopefully, and that make you think, or, hey, we got houses out there, put them to some commercial and tourist use?
I don't like the thought of like someone being able to just kind of cosplay being a prisoner living on the island for like 2-3 days there. I just get in and get out, because also I think when you're on the boat back, it really does give you time to reflect over exactly, because we did the trip 2 years ago, where even when you go through Robert Sebukwe's house, you listen to the stories that the tour guide tells you, and it's so hard to really comprehend what people go through. And then for you just to be like, oh, let's have some fun. You guys can host a party or come there for like an Airbnb experience. You're taking away exactly what that area stands for and what it's meant to symbolize. So I'm not an advocate for allowing people to stay on the island beyond the daily trips that you go there to reflect and recognize what happened on that island.
So it should remain in its starkness, and it should remain exactly as it was, and to some degree as it is, by way of a historical monument. Very interesting thought. I wonder if there would be monuments or places of historical significance that you might view differently. But think about that. Let's hear from you, Khumol. So, I mean, what do you think?
I mean, I've been nodding all the way. I echo the exact same sentiments, actually. I'm a huge believer of preserving culture and dignity to that culture. So I absolutely agree with all that Tolakele said. I do think we should keep it as is.
Yeah, okay.
I think it's also, even though we're 34 years into democracy, we still need to take the time to remember exactly what we've gone through. When we start commodifying our past just to be like, hey guys, let's make a bit of money, we sanitize what has happened for the generations to come. Our past is not great, but we need to remember why we're here exactly. So when you kind of keep Robben Island as it is, if you speak about Vilakazi Street, if you speak about all these other great areas where they mark significant moments, it's a way to remind us that when we have public holidays like Freedom Day, like Heritage Day, they're not just for braais and for us to sit down. Things happened on those days to get us here, where we can actually just proper reflect and recognize what we've gone through.
Strong views, let's get yours. 072 702 1702 and 011 883 0702. Coming up in a moment on 702 Drive, the 702 MTN Small Business Awards. We're going to meet yet another of our finalists. Looking forward to that. Stay with us for exactly that.
702 Afternoons
with Relebogile Mabota, 1 to 3 p.m.
We were busy explaining around YouTube and, one arguing that, well, it's a streaming platform. It's not necessarily a safety issue. For example, what might be the case with apps like Roblox, where somebody can contact your child directly. What are the safety issues that parents need to be aware of?
Parents need to remember that when they are giving their child a phone, they're not just giving their child access to the phone, they're giving billions of people access to that child. And I think it's very important for them to understand that essentially we are trading our children's developmental foundations for digital fluency.
Social Kids Facilitator and Cody Crawler's best friend, Miss Nadie.
702 Afternoons.
With Relebogile Maboja.
Let's walk the talk.
Joburg, get ready for the hottest music festival of the year, Scatterling's Music Festival, featuring Sjava, Zex Bantwini, Sanel musician Jay Something, Msaki, Jesse Clegg, Simi, Trezor, Spinofu, and more. All on one stage. Scatterling's Music Festival, Huddle Park, Johannesburg, 1 August. One day, back-to-back hits. Scatterling's Music Festival on sale at webtickets.co.za. Brought to you by 702.
It's 6 a.m. in Kenya. Victor's little sister starts high school today, but her fees need to be paid first. Back in Jozi, Victor logs onto the Absa banking app and sends her money and a little extra for lunch. It arrives instantly.
Your money makes their world go round. Send cash to 18 countries across the world with Absa Global Pay. It's safe, instant, and affordable. Your story matters. Absa is an authorized FSP and a registered credit provider. T's and C's apply.
Get a free optical frame when you get tested at Specsavers this April. Purchase a comprehensive eye examination and get your optical frame free up to the value of 1,000 Rand. Choose your free frame from our wide range of trendy, affordable styles. Get tested today at your nearest Specsavers or book online. Affordable eye care, Specsavers. T's and C's apply.
The 702 MTN Small Business Awards. Let's talk shop. This conversation is just the beginning.
Small business owners speak a language of their own, and it's a language MTN Business and 702 understand very well. That's why we're celebrating SMEs who walk that entrepreneurial talk in the 702 MTN Small Business Awards. We're in search of small businesses that prove big things can grow from big ideas, bold ideas. We asked you to nominate your business or one you know on primemediaplus.com. And now it's time to meet one of our finalists to find out about their journey so far and discover what it took to make them stand out in the 702 MTN Small Business Awards. Let's talk shop. Ever feel like running your business means doing everything except the thing you're actually good at? Like your clients love you, but when it comes to writing reports, emails, or even just organizing meetings, suddenly it's stress. But with MTN Business AI Solutions, you can easily research, write, edit, and manage your work so you can sound professional, stay organized, and save time. Let's talk shop. Click on mtn.co.za/business or visit an MTN store today. MTN Business, Africa's leading enabler of connectivity and converged solutions. So, let's hear about one of our finalists then. The organization, the business is called The Learning Space, and we joined in the studio by the man responsible for getting this business off the ground and starting to fly, Ernest Rangaka. Welcome, it's great to have you with us on the show.
Afternoon, John. Thank you so much for having me.
So you're focusing on maths and science, and you've got a particular philosophy in doing that. I've got something in front of me that says maths and science are languages, just like English or Setswana. So explain that to us. It's clearly a philosophical approach as well as a set of techniques. What's the philosophy? What's the thinking?
Thanks for that, John. So, essentially, I grew up feeling I wasn't necessarily great with languages, but that's because of like English and Setswana languages you do at school. But then you realize I love the universe. I'm a tech geek. I'm a science nerd. And actually, science and maths for me are the language of the universe.
Right.
It's the language by which we get to understand the workings of the world we live in. And then you realize a lot of learners get scared of the subject, but that's just because they're not really thinking about this as a language as such. And once you unlock that part to say, listen, gravity equals two forces by two objects with mass, and then they act that way, then learners really unlock that way of thinking, and that actually reaches them a lot bit better. Yeah.
So the learning space is a business. take us through that. I want to come back to the ideas you've just shared with us, but I first want to get a sense of it in practice, because this is a business. You're looking for customers and they're looking for outcomes and outputs.
Fantastic, yeah. So as the Learning Space, we are a South African-based STEM tutoring business. So we provide educational support to learners. This is an after-school program as such. So we have one-on-one tutoring, small group tutoring. We do workshops. We have amazing online content that really helps break down the complex problems you find in the CAPS curriculum and IEB curriculum. And we really have been initially focused on high LSMs, you know, the private schools of North Johannesburg and that. But actually in the last few years, technology has helped us reach far and wide. Our following on TikTok really showed us now that actually even kids in, you know, quintile 1 and 2 schools, as long as they've got a phone and internet connectivity, they can engage with our services.
So presumably you tried some things, they worked well, you tried some things that worked less well, and as with every successful business, there were iterations. Are you pretty much, I know this is not to imply or even suggest that you are not going to change and shift, but you feel you've got content and practice down to what you want. I'd assume there were a couple of walls, a couple of heads, and a fair bit of banging.
100%. You know, I think especially when COVID came and changed everything for a lot of businesses.
Yes.
You know, we were a human heart first business where it was very face to face. COVID came and everyone felt the need to just pivot. Let's go online. And we found that hurt us a little bit. And, you know, a few years later, coming back and thinking, you know what we need to try and do right now is go back to the heart of it, where it's about the humans, it's about us connecting with people and helping them connect to their dreams, their hopes, their futures through this love of maths and science. So I think one of the things that really helped us come back to who we are and not try to compete with all the noise is just come back to really what it is about us. Let's help you develop a love for this by us knowing what you want and connecting that to your studies.
Have you had to tailor what you offer to your expected clientele? Because I don't know, and you'll put me right if I'm wrong, I would imagine most of your clients are the adults concerned about young people who are struggling with the two sciences, two subjects, I beg your pardon, as opposed to someone saying, my boy, he's brilliant, make him more brilliant. But maybe you get a rich mix, I don't know.
So we definitely do have a mix.
Okay.
So on our end, you know, you have to tailor your services to being able to offer this to someone who's really struggling. I mean, we've got a cohort now who are people who didn't perform as well as they'd liked last year, and we're helping them do really well so they can rewrite their matric and actually get into the qualifications they want. But you also have learners who are coming in at 91 and they want that 99 or 100. And what I always say is, you know, Lionel Messi still has a coach, Cristiano Ronaldo still has a coach. You need a coach at every level.
And a bad day from time to time.
Exactly, yeah. So you need the assistance to get to the top and to stay at the top as well.
Yeah. Where were you in 1976 when I needed help with matric maths? Well, we didn't have an internet, so it would have been different then. But anyway, it sounds like a really, really interesting social business, because you're addressing a need that really can consume young people, their families, parents, interfere with what people would like to believe are their life choices and so on. So, Ernest Rangaka, we wish you well at the Learning Space, and I'm sure we're going to hear about you in the days to come. One of our finalists in the 702 MTN Small Business Awards. Now, listen to 702 Breakfast with Bongani Bingwa tomorrow. You're going to meet another excellent business, another one of our finalists. But the competition is not yet closed. So you can nominate a local small business that's doing big things with the potential to go on and do huge things. Go to primemediaplus.com, submit your nomination. And by the way, you can and should nominate yourself if you think you are ready to compete and share your ideas. Remember the T's and C's and more, all of this available on primemediaplus.com. This is 702 Drive.
702. WhatsApp John
on 072
702
1702.
Hi, John. Now I hear from Tembisa. I've been in a taxi driven by a woman. I've been in a bus driven by a woman. Oh, the woman bus driver was full of that. She was swearing at passengers, just like a taxi driver. I love those typical taxi drivers, not all of them, by the way. And guys, I don't care. I get into a plane, it's a woman that is a pilot or only females. I go Viva. Mbogotos, the woman Viva. I adjusted. I mean, there's employment equity, there's I'm a 50-50. Women can do what men do. We see women driving those picked up trucks, those huge trucks. Come on, guys. Let's wake up. It's New South Africa. Viva to our women, viva.
Thanks. And the question we asked right at the beginning of the show, and a lot of you still responding to it, do you have a gender preference on any services that you require? This is interesting from Zukiswa, who says, driving instructors, females, please. They are patient and explain everything well once, and you won't forget it. Of course, if I look back to when I was learning to drive, I pity anyone who had to be my instructor. I was not good, and I wasn't listening particularly well to the people who were trying to make me better. 7:02 Drive, we're coming up for the news at 5. After that, Tabiso Goba is going to take us through what happened at the Madlanga Commission of Inquiry today. Brigadier Julius Mkwanazi, suspended from his senior position at the Kuruleni Metro Police Department, facing some questions today. And then R1 million worth of explosives confiscated from smugglers at the Beitbridge border post. I'm keen to know what they know about what these explosives were destined to do. And perhaps the first key to understanding that better is to find out exactly what these explosives are. So we'll hopefully get some answers and then rely heavily, as we often do, on those of you with technical expertise to maybe shed some light on the facts that we've had shared with us. It's 5 o'clock.
This is EWN.
Action SA wants another minister fired over Chinese card donations, and young people take to the streets in search of employment. Good afternoon, I'm Bali Dlamini. Action SA wants the President to fire Minister of Planning, Monitoring and Evaluation, Marupeni Ramohopa. This follows allegations that she may have also been on the receiving end of a Chinese donation of cars. An ongoing investigation by the Daily Maverick has revealed that Social Development Minister Sisisi Tolashe may not have been the only one to have diverted donations meant for the ANC Women's League to family and associates. Action SA MP Derilyn James says she will return to the police station to also lay a criminal complaint against Ramohopa. Lindsay Dentlinger has more.
What started out as reports of 2 Chinese vehicle donations having been diverted to the children of Minister Sisisi Tolashe has now grown to a bigger expose of the Daily Maverick, tracking 3 more vehicles to people connected to Minister Marupeni Ramohopa. Just a week after filing complaints against Tolashe, Action SA's Derilyn James says she will now also pursue similar complaints against Ramohopa with the police, the public protector and Parliament for corruption, breaches of the Executive Ethics Act and misleading Parliament for failing to disclose the donations or gifts. James says the Daily Maverick investigation appears to indicate that Ramohopa used the same tactics in allegedly registering one of the vehicles in the name of her son.
What is emerging as a cause for cadres for their kids scheme within the executive?
Meanwhile, the DA says it will submit parliamentary questions to Ramohopa to determine whether she failed to disclose any gifts and whether she obtained presidential approval to keep them. Lindsay Dentlinger, Eyewitness News, Parliament.
The Johannesburg High Court is expected to hear a search and seizure review application brought by lawyers for Danny Jordan later this month. Jordan and his co-accused appeared in the Specialized Commercial Crimes Court in Palm Ridge today, where the case was postponed to May. They face fraud charges and are challenging the legality of a search and seizure conducted at SAFA offices in 2024 prior to their arrest. This is one of 3 review applications filed by the defense in the matter. Dimakato Lishoro reports.
The fraud charges stem from the alleged misuse of 1.3 million rand in SAFA funds. The SAFA president was arrested by the Hawks in 2024. A search and seizure operation at SAFA offices was carried out prior to his arrest, with evidence gathered expected to form part of the state's case. Jordan's legal team is seeking to have that search declared unlawful, which could render the evidence inadmissible. The defense has also filed an application to review his arrest, arguing it was carried out despite an interdict. In addition, they are reviewing the dismissal of a Section 342A of the Criminal Procedure Act's application to have the matter struck off the roll due to delays. This comes as 73-year-old Jordan is seeking re-election as SAFA president later this year. Dimakatso Leshoro, Eyewitness News.
We shift now to a story which contains some disturbing details. The ANC in Johannesburg is calling for the National Sex Offenders Register to be made public. The call comes after a 58-year-old man appeared in court today for allegedly raping a 12-year-old girl. It's alleged that the incident took place at his home in Dobsonville, Soweto, over the Easter weekend. He appeared in the Roodepoort Magistrates Court today, where his bail application was postponed to next week. Today, various political parties, civic groups and learners staged a demonstration outside the court in support of the victim. ANC Johannesburg chairperson Loyiso Masugu was also there.
Make sure that these people don't roam around in our communities. They don't become repeat offenders because we know them. The reason we are here to picket today, it is to demonstrate our commitment.
Only 21 job offers were made after thousands of unemployed young people staged a mass job search demonstration in Midrand and Tembisa today. The group, led by the Labour and Civic Organisation, spent the day moving from factory to factory, CVs in hand, appealing directly to employers for opportunities. Despite braving morning rain and scorching afternoon heat, many have been left disappointed after only a handful of positions were secured. Mongezi Koko reports.
As the day wears on, the crowd is slowly decreasing, but some remain holding on to the hope that more opportunities could emerge. Only 21 people have been offered jobs so far, a fraction of those who arrived, to highlight the scale of South Africa's unemployment crisis. However, there are indications of possible appointments, some in the manufacturing sector signaling a willingness to meet with representatives. The young protesters say they will return tomorrow in the hope that further talks could translate into real job opportunities.
It's not because there are thousands of us. It's because this protest, it is poorly planned. Not even 50 people got employed today. This is not a success. It's only 21 who got jobs from 2 different companies.
Many have vowed to return until their voices are heard and opportunities materialize. Mongezi Koko, Eyewitness News.
And the International Monetary Fund has warned that the global economy is at risk of recession should the US-Israel war with Iran persist. Energy prices have soared since the war began 6 weeks ago after the Strait of Hormuz shipping route effectively closed and peace talks between the US and Iran failed. In its World Economic Outlook report, the IMF says the worst-case scenario, where oil, gas and food prices spike, global growth could fall by below 2% this year. The IMF adds that the most severe conditions that could lead to a worldwide slowdown would include oil prices reaching an average of $110 per barrel this year and hitting $125 a barrel next year. While gold is trading at $4,798.53 an ounce, the rand is at 16.33 to the dollar, 22.19 to the pound, 19.28 to the euro, and Brent crude oil is at $96.81 a barrel.
In the traffic in Protea Glen, there's slow-moving traffic on Main Reef Road as you approach the R558, and expect some delays on the M1 South from Oxford Road to the Crown Interchange.
In your sport, the latest from the friendly between Banyana and Algeria. Michael Carrick not panicking after Manchester United suffer surprise Premier League defeat to Leeds. And Perez Chapchicha withdraws from the London Marathon.
A cloudy Wednesday in store for Gauteng tomorrow, with scattered showers and thundershowers expected. Johannesburg drops to overnight lows of 12 degrees, peaking at 20. Pretoria 15 and 24, and Vereeniging 14 and 21 degrees. The top story in EWN this hour: Action SA wants the president to fire Minister of Planning, Monitoring and Evaluation Marupeni Ramohopa.
EWN, in touch, in tune and independent. For the latest, visit ewn.co.za or download the EWN app.
From the townships to the suburbs and everywhere in between, it's the 702 MTN Small Business Awards. Enter now on Prime Media Plus. Let's talk shop.
702.
Drive home with John Perlman.
John Perlman, 3 to 6 p.m.
On 92.7 and 106 FM. Let's walk the talk.
7:02 drive, it's 9 minutes past 5. Hope you've had a decent Tuesday. Some of you making your way home. We'll make sure that we make that as uncomplicated as we possibly can. We're going to give you a traffic update fairly shortly. We'll give you another one between 5:30 and 6 o'clock. That ought to do the trick. Coming up over the next half an hour or so to the Madlanga Commission of Inquiry, we go shortly. That's where we'll be joined by Thabiso Gorbo, who's watched a very, very interesting day indeed, involving Brigadier Julius Mkhwanazi, suspended very senior member of the Ekurhuleni Metro Police Department. The day began with issues raised by the evidence leader, Advocate Sillo, who was questioning the facts put before the commission to secure Brigadier Mkhwanazi a postponement the last time he was meant to appear. Rather complicated stuff, actually, but Thabiso will straighten that out, and then we'll get into the testimony itself, which is very much about the appointments that Brigadier Mkhwanazi made once he ascended to that senior position. And then we're going to focus our attention on news coming out of the Border Management Authority. At Beitbridge, they confiscated R1 million in illegal explosives. Any idea where they were headed and what kind of explosives were they? I'm sure that we can get some information on that. That'll give us some sense of how their future use was intended. If you are an explosives expert, please make sure you're listening. And if you've got some clues after you've heard the interview, please be sure to call us and give us your thoughts. Asked some questions of you earlier in the day. The most recent of those is there is something of a dispute taking shape about the idea of making the wardens' houses on Robben Island available for accommodation, visitors' accommodation. I called it tourist accommodation, but that would suggest that these are people who are just there to kind of see the place. It could be accommodation used for workshops, people who are using the history and current presence of Robben Island, the experience of being there, perhaps to discuss important issues. Either way, though, we've had some strong views as to whether Robben Island should ever do that, irrespective of who uses that accommodation. Tolakele's very, very clear-eyed view and echoed by Khomotso Munya, who's going to bring you traffic in a moment, echoed by Khomotso, saying that these places should be left in the starkness of the reality under which people lived there in the apartheid years. But it's an interesting conversation, and you may want to broaden your answers to all our places of historical significance. What could, can, and should they be used for? Marianne says this: do you know that dances were held on Robben Island in the 1970s? I have a ticket for one such function that my parents attended. Not something I knew, but thanks for that. Keep those bits of information and, crucially, your thoughts coming on 072 702 1702, 12 minutes past 5.
Hi, John. Now I hear from Tembisa. I've been in a taxi driven by a woman. I've been in a bus driven by a woman. Oh, the woman bus driver was full of that. She was swearing at passengers, just like a taxi driver. I love those typical taxi drivers, not all of them, by the way. And guys, I don't care. I get into a plane, it's a woman that is a pilot or only females. I go Viva. Mbogotos, the woman Viva. I adjusted. I mean, there's employment equity, there's I'm a 50-50. Women can do what men do. We see women driving those picked up trucks, those huge trucks. Come on, guys. Let's wake up. It's New South Africa. Viva to our women, Viva.
Good afternoon, John and the listeners. Now, I'm a regular blood donor, and my preference is women phlebotomist, because I have had 2 incidents where I have had an unsuccessful bleeding because the people who were males, after telling them that my vein is very fussy, please be careful, and they will always take offense. And then they will go ahead and prick me, and in both those instances, the blood will not come out. But each time, whenever I tell a lady that, I've got a fussy vein, they don't have a problem. They would go to a senior sister and say to them, come and advise me because the patient is, is warning me about his vein.
Yeah, thank you. Lots of interesting points of view there. Women getting votes, men getting votes on who you would prefer to have assistance from and service from. 072 702 1702. Like to get your views as well on the Robben Island issue that I raised. 14 minutes past 5. Time to just guide you through the traffic if we can.
EWN Traffic.
And I'm sure we can. This EWN Traffic is brought to you by Outsurance. SMS out to 45142 now. And you could save on car insurance. If you don't, ask them for 500 Rand. Kumotso Munyai with the latest from the roads.
Thank you, John. Before we continue, may I ask, would you trust the female reporter to tell you about what's happening on the roads?
Absolutely. Why wouldn't I?
There we go. Traffic is heavily backed up on the M2 West as you approach Main Reef Road. You can expect some delays on the M1 South from Oxford Road to the Crown Interchange, while in the opposite direction, traffic remains sluggish on the M1 North from Kohler Drive to the Butlu Interchange. If you are in Pretoria CBD, you can anticipate those peak time delays in and around Hermanstad on Eskempahlele Drive between the R80 and FW Ngoma Street, as well as on Paul Kruger Street and Steve Biko Road. Be aware of faulty traffic lights and four-ways at Winnie Mandela and Monte Casino, in North Riding at the N1 North and Malibongwe, as well as in Randburg at Malibongwe and President Fauché. If you come across any other traffic on your side, please do send us a WhatsApp voice note 072 702 1702.
There's more EWN on air, online, and on the EWN app.
Sitting in a traffic jam is as fun as waiting on hold for 2 hours only to get disconnected. Oh, the frustration. But fortunately, the Outsurance pointsmen are on the roads, easing traffic congestion so everyone gets where they need to be quickly and safely for the past 20 years. With Outsurance, you really always get something out. In proud partnership with 702. Show them some love online using #PointsmenLove, licensed insurer and FSP.
You're with John Perlman on 702.
Let's walk the talk.
So to the Madlanga Commission of Inquiry, suspended acting head of the Ekurhuleni Metro Police Department, Brigadier Julius Mkhwanazi, appearing for the second time. The first part of proceedings were taken up on a postponement that he asked for and secured the last time he was meant to appear, and then into, I guess, the main purpose of his appearance, which was to look at certain appointments he did and the way he conducted himself when he held this senior and all-important post. I'm going to go back a little later to the place where they started, but I do want to make sure we get into, in some detail, the evidence that he was being questioned on in regard to the way he did his job. And here to assist us with both questions, Thabiso Goba, good afternoon to you. What were the key things that the Commission wanted to know about in regard to the way he did his work? I know there were issues of appointments, and there were issues of deployment as well. But what for you was most prominent? Good afternoon.
Good afternoon, John. So as we know, John, that Mr. Julius Mkhwanazi, the suspended EMPD Deputy Chief, he's previously testified to the Madlanga Commission extensively. And so the reason he came back today is because from his side, there were things that he said that he wants to clarify that he couldn't touch on based from his previous testimony, and that he has new evidence to give to the Commission. But also on the Commission side, they've also, since the last time he testified, they've also got some information that they are going to put to him for him to answer. Now that information, in terms of putting it to him or cross-examination, we expect that will take place tomorrow, because today Mkhwanazi just focused on some of the allegations against him, and one of the key allegations is around those promotions. There was an allegation that there was this group of people who were very loyal to Mkhwanazi, who protected Mkhwanazi, and he had this group of officers within his circle, and that he gave them undue promotions within within the EMPD. Now Mkhwanazi did explain that and said that there was a time when the chief, that Tumapiye, he was suspended for sexual allegations. He allegedly sexually assaulted another officer within the EMPD, and he was suspended. So during that time when the chief of the EMPD was suspended, Mr. Mkhwanazi acted in his capacity. And he said that while he was acting in his capacity, then he inherited all of the responsibilities of a chief of the EMPD. And one of those responsibilities was to also promote people. He also said that this process of promoting these officers was started by Mapiyeye before he was suspended. So all he did was finish it off. And there was another question, another allegation, John, around that while he was within the EMPD, Mr. Mkhwanazi ran this parallel rogue structure of officers who just operated outside of their jurisdiction and did a lot of things that were off the books or were not authorized by EMPD. One of those things is obviously going into other jurisdictions. As you can imagine, the Ekurhuleni Metro Police Department is allowed to operate within Ekurhuleni unless in special circumstances. Those special circumstances could be if you're chasing a criminal and that criminal crosses into Johannesburg, then as an EMPD official, obviously you can't stop. Or there is obviously written consent. Now, the allegations against Mkhwanazi was that there was this rogue structure and they operated everywhere in Gauteng. What Mkhwanazi said is that there is unfortunately a mismatch between what is legally allowed to do and what happens on the ground. He said that he's been in the EMPD for over a decade. He's been there for a very long time. And he said that officers operating outside their jurisdiction is something that happens, not just in the EMPD, but it happens in Tshwane and Johannesburg.
Right.
He understands that the legislation doesn't allow it except for special circumstances, but this is something that it's one of those things where what is written and what happens on the ground, there's obviously a mismatch. So those are the two key things that he basically touched on. Obviously, the cross-examination will come tomorrow.
Yeah, and I'm sure important details will emerge in that process. The day began with a very difficult exchange from the bits that I heard in regard to the question of him not appearing the last time, and Advocate Mahlape Sillo, evidence leader, was questioning the grounds on which he made that application. Was that ever resolved? Because she was saying that she believed he was in contempt of the commission and had lied.
Well, I don't know if it was resolved, but we do obviously know that the Malawi Commission has struggled a lot with a lot of witnesses missing their testimony for sometimes excuses that are not up to par, or sometimes, silly excuses. And Julius Mkhwanazi, he was due to testify in January. He said he had an eye operation. His testimony was postponed to March. And then he said he lost his mother. And obviously it was postponed to today. Now the trouble is, or the issue that the evidence leader, Advocate Mahlape Sillo, took with Julius Mkhwanazi is that Julius Mkhwanazi told the commission that he lost his mother. However, Julius Mkhwanazi did not clarify that the person he lost was his stepmother.
Right.
And not necessarily his biological mother, because his stepmother is only about 10 years older than him. So obviously it's impossible or improbable that he could be birthed by someone who is only 10 years older than him.
Especially when he said he was the second child.
Yes, 100%. But what Julius Mkhwanazi, he did give an explanation saying that obviously from his culture, he's a black person and, he's Zulu and there's no stepmother in his Zulu. If someone raises you, that person is a mother to you. The person that passed away was married to his father. They've been married for a very long time. And that's Julius Mkhwanazi saying that this person has raised me since I was 8 or around grade 1. And I regard this person as a mother. And how that exchange ended was that evidence leader Mahlape Sillo said, she's going to submit to the commission that Mr. Mkhwanazi be held in contempt because she believes that he lied to try and avoid appearing before the Malawi Commission. But Julius Mkhwanazi, doubling down, not necessarily doubling down, but standing firm on the fact that the person that passed away is someone close to him, and it was someone he does refer to as his mother.
Yeah, it was a very, very, very different kind of start to a day at the Madlanga Commission, and some important moments in the course of that. Thank you, Tabiso Goba, back covering Madlanga, I'm sure, tomorrow, and we'll hear from him again. 24 minutes past 5.
John is on X.
At John Perlman.
Well, I must say this story really caught my eye. News that R1 million worth of explosives were found concealed in a truck carrying scrap metal across the border from Zimbabwe into South Africa. This happening at the Beit Bridge border post. Now, let's find out exactly what we know about first of all, the company that was transporting the goods, and secondly, are there any clues as to what this might be intended for? My understanding is that there was a concealed compartment in the trailer and there were bulk mining explosives that could be used in industrial settings, mining settings, of course, but could be used for criminal purposes, and the fact that they were concealed would suggest that was their intention. Mukhodzi is the Border Management Authority spokesperson, and she joins us now on 702 Drive. Ms. Mukhodzi, welcome and thanks very much for your time. What have you managed to learn about the intended destination of these explosives, or is it still too early?
Thank you, John. Thank you for having me. It is now, the matter is with the South African Police Service, and they're highly deployed in terms of conducting investigations in terms of this type of explosives. You'd understand that it was a lot of them. The color was, it's a bright green color.
Right.
They are bulk mining explosives. The others are cap fuse Camex, as well as we also have detonator fuses as part of the explosives that were found there. So our assumption is that because it's bulk mining explosives, obviously the intention was probably for illegal mining in the various mining communities. So these are very dangerous explosives.
Yes.
We had to actually bring in SAPS explosives unit, the bomb squad from SAPS, to come and profile them and be able to explain the type of explosives that have been intercepted. So we are happy that we're able to do that interception, and this displays our security efforts as the Border Management Authority, working with all these stakeholders at the borders in securing our country from all this illegality.
So, I'll leave it to you to decide what's sensitive and what's not. But what drew the attention of your officials to the possibility that there might be criminal intent from the owners and driver of this truck?
No, as part of our routine operation, we conduct stop and searches on all the trucks that come from Zimbabwe, that come from that are entering the country. You'd understand that Beit Bridge is a border of South Africa and Zimbabwe, but the movement of trucks at that border, we have trucks from Malawi, we have trucks from Zambia, from Uganda, trucks from Tanzania that are coming through that border, that are facilitating and transporting goods from that side. So we have to check. It is our business to check every single truck that comes, and for us to be able to use our equipment to be able to determine what are the goods that are there and whether they have been declared as well according to the paperwork that is presented to us.
Thank you so much. Mukhodzi is the spokesperson for the Border Management Authority. If you know something about mining explosives, I mean, obviously they could be used in illegal mining, but if you have experience, and she described the explosive themselves as green in color, you may have some ideas about other ways in which they could be used for different kinds of illegal activities, or possibly even for acts of terror. If you've got some insight into that and you're able to share it, please do on 072 702 1702, 28 minutes past 5.
EWN Business.
Right, let's get the very latest once again from Muteo Khwaripe. Good afternoon to you.
Good afternoon, John. A day of reprieve on the markets generally, whether here in South Africa, elsewhere in the world. European stocks are rising amid hopes that the US-Iran peace talks could resume despite a blockade on Iranian ports coming into effect. The pan-European Stoxx 600 index was up 0.8%, while the FTSE in London was also broadly flat. Germany's DAX added 1.1%, while France's CAC was up 0.8%. The second round of negotiations between the US and Iran is under discussion. This coming from a White House official telling CNBC. The first round of talks, of course, that happened in Islamabad over the past weekend, ending without a particular deal. But generally today, the market trading on hopes that there could be a possible deal. And we saw that positiveness drive the JSE as well. Today, the all share up 1,309 points. Industrials was stronger by more than 1%. Banking stocks up more than 0.5%, with mining shares up more than 1%. A good day for Implats, up 4%. Harmison was up 4%. Kumba Iron Ore up 3%, with the luxury brand Richmond up 2.5%. Karoo, the Internet of Things business, they were down 8%. The owners of Cartrack, Tungela, the coal miner, up 3.5%. Sasol down 1.9% today as the oil price went under $100. Glencore was also down 1%. The rand this hour, 16 rand 35 against the US dollar, up close to 0.5%. Healthy against the euro at 19 rand 29 cents, while you'll need 22 rand 20 cents to get a British pound. Price of gold up 1% at $4,793. Platinum at $2,090, while Brent crude is lower by more than 1% at $96 a barrel. Later on the Money Show, we talk about South Africa's energy security reality with the CEO of Sasol, Simon Baloyi, just to give us a full picture of whether we will be ready in future for such shocks that we're seeing on the global market. Now, African Bank also under fire for some creative banking. Capital Loop they were involved in. We'll be talking to independent analyst and chartered accountant Kaya Sotola about that. Then a good day for the market, largely green all over the world. Ryan Hill from ABSA CIB will chat to us about how the markets performed today. Later on the show, we look at rethinking the road accident fund model that we currently have. A group of actuaries in the country have come together with a hybrid model. We'll be hearing from George Schwab, the actuary and member of the Actuarial Society of South Africa. Then later on the show, talking personal finance, the high cost of treating yourself culture in South Africa. That with Warren Ingram, financial advisor and co-founder of Galileo Capital. All that and more on The Money Show.
Thanks very much, Mateo. On between 6 and 8. It's 28 minutes. Now, 2-6, let's get the very latest eyewitness news and say good afternoon once again to Mbali Dlamini.
Thanks, John. A very good afternoon. The Val Business Corporation insists slain Mfuleni accountant Martha Ransofu was a whistleblower. The corporation's CEO, Klippus Kritzinger, says he met Ransofu weeks before her death to discuss a suspicious payment that did not reflect in the municipality's bank accounts. Ransofu, who was laid to rest at the weekend, was shot at a tyre shop in Vanderbijl Park last month. CCTV footage of the killing has since surfaced online. Kritzinger says Ransofu uncovered a scheme in which municipal employees erased debt in exchange for bribes.
From what I can gather, that person is no longer working in Mfuleni that actually committed these fraud. And yeah, I have a suggestion that maybe, but hopefully I will be I'm requested to talk to the SAPs about this. But yeah, I can actually say exactly what I know.
Meanwhile, the municipality has denied claims linking Ransofu to whistleblowing on a 16 million rand tender, saying the allegations are false and unrelated to her. The DA in Gauteng has welcomed the announcement by the National Prosecuting Authority that those implicated in the Life Esidimeni tragedy will be charged. The party says everyone identified by the Life Esidimeni inquest must face prosecution on charges including culpable homicide. At least 141 patients died following their transfers from NGOs where they were being cared for in 2015 and 2016. While the NPA has not named those to be charged, DA Shadow MEC for Health, Jack Bloom, says former Gauteng Health MEC Qetani Mahlangu should be amongst them.
It's essential that their consequences, this should include the former health MEC, Dani Mshlangu, who I think was very implicated in this, and politicians should not be let off. Everyone should be prosecuted who was involved on the full range of possible charges.
Cape Town MMC for Safety and Security JP Smith has played down criticism of a joint fitness drill recently conducted between the city's Metro Police cadets and members of the US Marines. Several political and civil society organizations have raised concerns about the nature of the engagement. They want to know whether the activity signals a deeper or more formalized relationship between the city and a foreign military entity and whether appropriate protocols were followed. But Smith insists that the engagement was simply a fitness exercise, offering officers an opportunity to experience Marine-style training drills.
The engagement with the Marines was an informal arrangement where staff could measure their fitness standards against that of another entity. It was not a formal training engagement, and there was no cost to the city as the Marines are based in Cape Town at their consulate.
Meanwhile, the Good Party's Jonathan Cupido says the matter cannot be dismissed as a simple fitness session.
Municipal police in South Africa is not a free-for-all. The constitution is clear that municipal police services must operate within a national legislative framework, and the South African Police Services Act makes it equally clear that the National Commissioner determines the standards and training applicable for municipal police. The city does not have the authority to improvise training arrangements outside of that framework.
And Prince Harry and Meghan have arrived in Australia for a 4-day visit. The couple touched down in Melbourne, kicking off 4 days of business and charity events. The trip will include visits to various charity organisations, a children's hospital, as well as a meeting with war veterans. Harry will speak at a high-profile summit, while Meghan is set to appear at a women's event in Sydney. Their visit marks their first to Australia since 2018. A cloudy Wednesday in store for Gauteng tomorrow, with scattered showers and thundershowers expected. Lows of between 12 and 15 degrees and highs of between 20 and 24.
In the traffic is heavily backed up on the M2 West as you approach Main Reef Road, and look out for a stationary vehicle on the N3 South just after Van Buren Road as it's causing slight delays.
The top story in EWN, the Val Business Corporation insists that slain Mfuleni accountant Martha Ransofu was indeed a whistleblower.
The Money Show with Stephen Grootes on 702.
My show is about your money, and it's about how people have made their money. But it's also about what happened to your money today, what happened on the JSC, what's happening overseas. All of these things, all about the way in which people make their money, spend their money, use their money, and in so many ways, use their money to make more money for them. What I absolutely love about the 702 family and 702 land is the huge warmth of people, the generosity that they show. But I also absolutely love the hustle. Anyone in business is actually trying to improve the economy. They're trying to have an impact on all of us. And there's a go-getting attitude to 702 land that you don't see in so many other places. That's what I really love about 702 land. That getting together and doing something new, and in the process, making money.
The Money Show with Stephen Grootes. Weekdays from 6 to 8 p.m.
This April, the Lyft Golden Ticket Hunt is back, and you have a shot at finding 150,000 Rand in flights across Cape Town, Durban, Joburg and Pretoria. Clues drop exclusively on Lyft socials, so you'll need to be quick, watch closely, figure it out and race to the location. Plus, every Friday, there's a digital ticket to be found, giving everybody a chance to play along. To join the hunt, visit lyft.co.za, follow the clues and get cracking. T's and C's apply.
That's Fani before he got naked. Fani's insurance premium went up for no reason, irritating him more than when the boys ignored the really funny meme he posted in the group chat. What? So Fani got naked. He got comprehensive car insurance and a way lower premium in seconds on the Naked app. Go Fani. Get a car and home insurance quote now at naked.insure and see how much you can save when you get naked. Naked Financial Technology is an authorized FSP. Get naked.
Running a small business is not just about having a great idea, it's about having the right tools to grow it. That's exactly where MTN Business comes in. Beyond the 702 MTN Small Business Awards, they're doing a lot more to support SMEs. Tomorrow on 702 Drive with me, John Perlman, we'll be in conversation with MTN Business, discussing how they're helping SMEs unlock real growth through AI and productivity solutions designed to drive efficiency, automation, and measurable performance. Tune in and find out how they can help to take your business further too. MTN Business, let's talk shop on 702.
702. WhatsApp John
on 072
702
1702.
Hi John. This is Waris from South Africa. My biggest worry is about these explosives. Why are we not deploying dogs at the border posts? I have seen some of these police dogs that are being used in our country, and some of these dogs look very, very, very bad. They are in very bad shapes. So I think the one thing that we should know is that if you need the tools to look for all these bombs and drugs and everything, that they should take the proper tools, use the dogs. If they don't use the dogs, how many things are floating through, how many things get through the borders without them noticing? Worry from South Africa.
Good afternoon, John, and the team there. With the story of explosives that were found in this truck, the question now is, okay, we can give credit to its due and congratulate the border management. The question is, how many more have actually passed the borders into the country? The issue of illegal immigration and these open border things are really putting the citizens of this country in danger. Thank you, John.
Yeah, I suppose I have two responses to each of those messages. Firstly, why don't they use dogs at the border? I don't know if they do, and I don't know if they don't. I'm not sure what the assumption is based on. If you know for sure that they don't make use of sniffer dogs at border posts, then obviously I'll defer to that. But if someone does know and knows for certain, please do just update us on that. I get that people are frustrated with the state of our borders. That said, I think, when somebody comes along and says, we've managed to solve this thing, to say, yeah, but what about all the other things you didn't solve? There's a time and place for that conversation, but I'm not sure it's always the appropriate response. You could say the same when the police crack a case and say, yeah, but what about all the cases you didn't crack? If the general movement is in a positive direction and is sustained over a decent period of time, then I would want to at least acknowledge that. And then you hold them to that new standard. I'm not saying they then get a free pass, be it the Border Management Authority, the Hawks, or anyone else. But if they show some improvement, I think we should acknowledge that. We should watch it over time. We should say, you've set the bar higher. Now we're going to see if you are actually clearing that bar, and if so, by how much. My views. Yours, please, on 072 702 1702, 18 minutes to 6.
EWN Sport.
Banyana in action against Algeria. Huge games in the Champions League, and the Stormers are looking ahead to some important rugby over the weekend. Tolokele with those stories and some cricket as well.
Thanks so much, John. And Banyana fine-tuned their WAFCON preparations with the 1-0 friendly win over Algeria at the Princess Makoko Stadium. Ntabiseng Machia scored the winner in the first half in a game in which Captain Bambana Nembane made her 100th appearance for the national team. The two nations will meet again on Sunday. Switching over to the UEFA Champions League, where the second leg quarterfinals take place this evening with PSG and Atletico Madrid 2-0 up in their ties against Liverpool and Barcelona respectively. Arne Slot says nothing less than perfection will be required from the Reds if they're to upset the defending champions.
Of course, we know we need an exceptional performance to go through to the next round. But that's completely normal if you face the champions of Europe and you're 2-0 down. We've also been able to score once in a while more than 2 goals. But let's first focus on the job at hand, and that is just start aggressive, making sure we can get back into the tie And the best way of doing so is, of course, scoring the first goal.
Hansi Flick has heaped praise on the ability of Lamine Yamal, whose individual brilliance needs to shine tonight. That's if the Catalans are to reach back-to-back semi-finals.
Lamine is performed really good. I'm very happy with him, and also what I say to him is he has to make these things where he's the best at the moment in the world, a one-against-one situation. And of course we have also give him the option that he can pass. This is important. We have to play as a team, as one unit. This is important for tomorrow, so I don't take care about individually.
John Dobson has called on the Stormers to honour long-serving team manager Chippy Solomon with a winning display against Connacht in the United Rugby Championship this weekend. Solomon died in the early hours of Saturday morning from a heart attack, having started in his role way back in 2004.
It's a hell of an important game. Desperate Connacht team, we really are. They put us under pressure before, and we want to honour Chippy, both in the formalities and how we play. We got an opportunity here to end top of the log, or we could end a lot worse. So it's a massive game for us. And I think, to appeal to the people there to come and help us pay respect to Chippy, and enjoy a great Stormers performance. It's a massive opportunity for us that this team have got in very difficult circumstances, and we want to take it, both the opportunity and do justice to Chippy.
And Blessing Muzarabane has been banned from the Pakistan Super League for 2 years after the Zimbabwe fast bowler joined IPL side Kolkata Knight Riders, despite having agreed to play for Islamabad United. He was signed by Islamabad but chose to play for Kolkata instead as the IPL's franchise replacement for Mustafa Rahim, who was released following instructions from the BCCI. The IPL and PSL have been held simultaneously, making it impossible for an international player to participate in both leagues. Tola Mganga, Eyewitness News Sport.
EWN Traffic.
At 5:45, this EWN Traffic is brought to you by Outsurance. SMS out to 45142 now, and you could save on car insurance. If you don't, ask them for 500 Rand. Kumotso Munyai with the very latest from the roads. Good news, I hope. Not too bad, I guess, is something we'd settle for.
Thank you, John. We can start on the N3 South. Please be aware of a stationary truck just after Van Buren Road, as it is in the middle lane and obstructing traffic, adding to the peak time delays. You can also expect delays in Edenvale, where traffic on the R24 West remains slow moving towards the Galulis interchange. Coming out of Johannesburg CBD, traffic is heavily backed up on the M2 West. This is as you approach Main Reef Road, and you can still expect those peak time delays on the M1 South from Oxford Road to the Crown interchange. Also look out for faulty traffic lights in Kyalami at Main and R55, in Midrand at the N1 South and Olifantsfontein, as well as in Edenvale at the N3 and Modderfontein Road. If you come across any other traffic, please do send us a tweet on X at EWN Traffic.
There's more EWN on air, online, and on the EWN app.
Things people stress about in traffic. Number 48. Did I upload the updated version of the presentation? Oh, the anxiety. Well, with the Outsurance Pointsman on your route, at least the traffic is one less thing to stress about. The Outsurance Pointsmen have been easing traffic congestion so we all get to where we need to be quickly and safely for the past 20 years. With Outsurance, you really always get something out. In partnership with 702. Outsurance is a licensed insurer and FSP.
The Aubrey Masangu Show on 702.
I cover on my show issues of advisory, whether it is legal matters, whether it is financial matters. I cover day-to-day issues as far as current affairs are concerned. I cover the politics of the day and how we as South Africans are interpreting them. My listener is a curious 702 lander. They want to know what are the backstories, the stories behind what we are hearing on the airwaves. They want to understand what drives the different issues that have us talking. What I love about the 702 family and 702 Land is the fact that we have 702 Landers who are responsive, who are present, who care about their communities and who want to know how they can be a part of the process of making our areas better, but also our country better. And that for me is a great privilege. I am totally indebted to the providence out there to be talking to these people on a daily basis.
The Aubrey Masangu Show, weekdays from 8 to midnight.
You're with John Perlman
on 702.
702 Drive. Okay, time for some music. So the first quarter of the year has gone by. In fact, we're already 14 days into the second quarter. But let's cap it at the first quarter and ask you this question. plenty of time to hear some new music, to get introduced to either songs by someone you know or brand new artists. So the question, straightforward and simple, but hopefully you're going to send us your very best. What is the best music you've heard in the first quarter of 2026? Get in touch with us on that on 072 702 1702 and 011 883 0702. Kabazela, you've listened to a fair bit over these 3 months, but you've got one. As soon as I asked you to pick a song for us, you didn't hesitate.
Yeah, afternoon, John. So it's a very, very new song, and it's a very good, what would you call them? Dance music, electronic music band who originated out of Cape Town. They're living, I think, in San Diego now at the moment. Goldfish is their name, and they released a song on Friday.
Okay.
And it's a collaboration with Zolani Mahola. Remember her from Freshly Ground,
yeah.
the lead singer of Freshly Ground. So they released this track on Friday, and it's a really, really cool song if you like electronic music, dance music. So this might get you tapping your feet, your hands, and bobbing in your car on the way home. Let's take a listen, shall we?
Sound of Goldfish, Solani Mahola, with the lyrics, with the vocals there, shall I rather say. The song's called Little Wonder. And that's Kabazela's contribution in response to the question I asked. First 3 months of the year behind us, we've had a quarter of 2026. What is the best new song that you've heard? It can either be brand new out there in the musical ether, or it can just be a song that's brand new to you. We are not going to be strict on that regard. We're just keen for you to send it to us on 072 702 1702.
.702 Afternoons with Relebogile Mabodja.
702 Afternoons is about all things in life, from music to inspiration. We get an opportunity to explore science, mental health, food. I almost feel like there's nothing we don't do on my show. One of the things I absolutely love about 702 Land and the 702 family is that we are so sharing. We share tears, laughs, smiles. We share in the amazing times and celebrate together as well. We have a range of topics, but when it comes to what we do cover on the show, absolutely everything. My listener is somebody who wants to grow, evolve, develop. They're empathetic. They are loving. They are so special that even when they don't have, they come through and share, and more importantly, they know how to walk the talk.
702 Afternoons with Relebogile Mabodja. Weekdays from 1 to 3 p.m.
Celestial Bodies returns to the stage after last year's successful run. It's a collaboration between Universe on Stage and Joburg Ballet. Celestial Bodies is a fusion of narration, music, science, and ballet. It's a unique performance that tells the story of our connection to the stars and to the universe. Universe on Stage is reshaping live entertainment, merging science, music, and storytelling that connects audiences to the wonders of the cosmos. So, there are 3 performances of Celestial Bodies at the UJ Theatre this weekend. 2 on Saturday in the afternoon and the evening, and 1 on Sunday. For more details and to book tickets, go to Quicket and search for Celestial Bodies.
Let's hear from Susan, owner of Leopard Song Manor, why it pays to switch to Outsurance Business Insurance.
We were with our previous insurer for 13 years. Switching made me aware of things that we weren't covered for. It was a quick process. I saved a lot of money.
For boutique hotels, catering companies, and all other businesses, get a quote today and see why it pays to switch to Outsurance Business Insurance. Visit outsurance.co.za or call 08600 60,000 today. Licensed insurer and FSP. TCs and information online.
Africa's trade system is at a turning point. Fragmented standards are increasing compliance costs, delaying exports, and enabling the illicit economy to flourish. On Wednesday, 15 April, industry leaders, regulators, and innovators gather at the GS1 South Africa in Durban to explore how globally recognized GS1 standards adopted in 120 countries, supported by trusted product data and traceability systems, can enable safe trade, curb illicit activity, and protect consumers. Anchored in GS1's vision of powering trust in data for everyone, everywhere. 702 will be on the ground, bringing you all the action, updates, and conversations. So don't miss it on 702.
You're with John Perlman on 702.
Let's walk the talk.
702 Drive. So what's been good? What's been great in terms of the music you've heard in the first quarter of this year? I was sort of scratching my head, and I've seemed to have spent most of the first 3 months kind of revisiting music that I like. And I'm sure I've heard some new stuff, but nothing has absolutely stuck for me. So if you've got something that you can share, liked what Jono shared with us, by the way, latest from Goldfish with Solani Mahola, 072 702 1702. Let's hear a few.
Top of the afternoon. Yes, top of the afternoon in Tate John. This is Lifang Khadima from Orlando West. So yeah, for me, it's not a new song, but actually this is a song which I heard for the first time, but it's not a new song. Yeah, it's a song by Shansia and Masego. Yeah, the title of the song is Silver Tongue. Yeah, so that's the song which came as a blast. Yeah, the first time I heard this song. Yeah, at the beginning of this year. Thanks for the awesome show. Away.
I could talk my way into sacred places. I know I just play my snake, it is son of Satan. They say, my, you stole my time. I say, time's a wasting. Don't you cry, I just wipe your eyes. I know what you're thinking. Silver tongue, she call me cocky man. I say, my head level. Silver.
Masego Shensea, Silver Tongue Devil, actually came out in 2020. But thanks for bringing it to the attention of people who might not know the music and who can say, well, I heard that for the first time. As I said, I'm not expecting you to come up with something that's necessarily been released this year. It may just be brand new to you. Chad sends us this, Degeneration X, Are You Ready? That's the song that has really caught Chad, I beg your pardon, caught the ear of Chad in the first 3 months of 2026. Keep those coming, please, on 072 702 1702.
Hey, John, great show as usual. Sean from Springs. This new song is amazing. It's called God Went Crazy by Teddy Sims. Sorry, it took me a minute. Anyway, great show. Hope you play it and have a blessed week.
When he painted you,
Ain't seen nothing like this before. Took a little extra time on you before he let you walk out the door. You got that smile, babe. You got that to the Mona Lisa, drive me wild, babe. I'd give it all up just to keep you by my side, babe. I know it from the jump. Fit right in my arms like you the one. Yeah, I'm made for you. I prayed for you. There's a light in your eyes, every color in the sky. Don't come close to you.
As we enjoy Teddy Swims, God Went Crazy. David weighs in and thanks Jono and says, Jono beat me to it. Happy to hear Zolani on vocals of Little Wonder by Goldfish. Have a super evening. And Chivas out in Kuruleni in Boksburg says, hi John and team, for me it's Yanaya West, Huya Tina Mate. Brand new songs for the first 3 months of 2026. I'm making a list. Hope to build out a great playlist for the rest of the year. We'll do it again sometime around the middle of the year. That's it from the 702 Drive team. Have yourselves a great Tuesday night. Good night.
So immaculately designed. You got that smile, babe. You got that to the Mona Lisa, drive me wild, babe. I'd give it all up just to keep you by my side.
And now, The Money Show with Moteo Haripe.
On 702. Let's walk the talk.
The Money Show with Stephen Krotis is brought to you by Absa CIB. Discover the latest trends shaping digital assets across Africa. Download the Absa Africa Digital Assets Insights 2025. Tonight on The Money Show, we look at the regulatory fallout facing African Bank. They've been caught out for some creative banking, trying to shore up their capital footing. The Prudential Authority flagging them for that. We'll be talking to Akaya Sitola, independent analyst and chartered accountant, about just how much trouble the bank is in. Then look at South Africa's energy security reality with the CEO of Sasol, Simon Baloyi. Later on the show, we look at the Africa Business Focus with Dr. Rutendo Hidwingi, the founding director of Tribe Africa Advisory and the author of Rumble in the Jungle Reloaded. Later on the show, are you overindulging when it comes to your finances? In our personal finance feature, we look at the high cost of treating yourself, that with Warren Ingram, financial advisor and co-founder of Galileo Capital. But before all of that, your eyewitness news with Maki Molapo.
Good evening, I'm Maki Malapo. The Vaal Business Corporation says the Mfuleni local municipality has for years been plagued by corruption and wrongdoing, warning that the situation has worsened with service delivery continuing to decline. The organization was reacting to the assassination-style murder of the municipality's acting accountant, Martha Rantsofu, last month. CCTV footage of the incident has since surfaced online, triggering widespread outrage. The corporation's CEO, Klippies Kritspread outrage. The corporation's CEO, Klippies Kritzinger, says he believes without a doubt the victim was a whistleblower, adding that this is a difficult time for the community. He has described Rantsofu, who was laid to rest over the weekend, as a professional and dedicated public servant. Nkosikona Malengamnisi has more.
Klippies Kritzinger says he met Martha Rantsofu weeks before her death to discuss a suspicious payment that did not reflect in the municipality's bank accounts, and that the matter was referred to the Hawks. He says Rantsofu, a senior clerk in Mfuleni's Finance and Revenue Department, uncovered a scheme in which municipal employees erased debt in exchange for bribes. Kritzinger says one implicated employee has since been dismissed for misconduct linked to the scheme, and he is calling for enhanced protection for whistleblowers.
I had to, in the past, get a protection order against a senior manager in Mfuleni that really threatened me, and in direct words, you will die.
Meanwhile, the Mfuleni municipality has warned against speculation about the motive for the murder as the political killings task team continues its investigation. The municipality has also denied claims linking Rantsofu to whistleblowing on a 16 million rand tender, saying the allegations are false and unrelated to her. Kosi Khona Malingamnisi, Eyewitness News.
With the Judicial Service Commission accepting the explanation given by Gauteng Acting Judge President Ledwaba on the corruption allegations launched against him, Judicial Watchdog Judges Matter says the JSC dealt with the matter adequately. Ledwaba's lengthy interview was dominated by the allegations which have been described by commissioners as a cloud over his candidature. In October, a witness testified at the Madlanga Commission that suspected crime boss Katiso KT Molefe paid